action.
Welcome to Films from the Phantom Zone, your podcast about failed and forgotten comic book movies. My name is Arnaldo, and with me, as usual, is my co-host,
Berto.
And today we have a special guest who hasn't interrupted yet.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to be rude. I'm back by popular demand. It's Sabel.
Okay, what's your name? Yeah.
Oh, I guess if you haven't seen the Christmas episode, then you wouldn't really know who I am.
Sabel's my wife. She was featured in the Christmas special. You can go back and listen to that. She also was just in the background of several episodes.
Yeah, I'm featured in quite a few.
Because it's hard to keep her away sometimes.
I do live here. But...
What are you guys doing?
So... we're back at it again, wrapping up our Batman franchise with, what's the movie, Berto?
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin from, yes?
I was going to say the best one out of all of them.
You didn't watch the first three, so...
Also, yikes. That's
you have
a hot
no
take.
Yeah.
I saw pieces of the ones you guys were watching before, and I was not impressed.
No, you need to... This is definitely the worst
one.
one.
But you love Michael Keaton.
Okay, I make one comment about how he is an attractive guy.
No, you said he was hot.
Did I really use the word hot? Oh, shit.
All right, so this movie is available on Showtime if you want to watch along, but it's probably for a limited time. I would imagine in a month or two, it'll be back on HBO Max.
Maybe.
Hopefully. Things come and go from HBO Max depending on what other streaming services have contracts for, so... yeah. Right now it's on Showtime at the time we're airing this, but check HBO Max if you don't have Showtime.
You can also buy or rent it at any digital storefront.
You know what though? I don't think I'd pay
this
money
one ain't
for
worth
it. No.
You wouldn't?
If I've never seen this before, I wouldn't pay money for it.
Oh, well, yeah, if you've never seen it. But this is like a childhood gem.
No, for sure. This definitely has a place in my heart.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not good.
No, it's not good at all.
Well, that's
we'll get into
where
it.
we differ, and that's where we'll fight.
So, initial thoughts. Have you guys seen this movie before?
I saw it as a kid.
Yes, we watched this over and over again as kids. We were obsessed with it. I didn't even know any other Batman movies existed other than this one. This was the only Batman movie I'd ever seen.
I feel like you kids had a really sheltered childhood though. You didn't know certain movies existed. You only knew the direct-to-DVD sequels existed.
Oh yeah,
the cheap ones.
We only had sequels. We had the Beauty and the Beast 2, Enchanted Christmas.
You had every Scooby-Doo movie.
We did, but we had the Little Mermaid 2. We had Lady and the Tramp 2 because those are the cheap ones, and we were not rich.
Mulan 2.
So this was
Mulan
on the
2.
dollar bin.
No, actually, I've never seen Mulan 2.
It's ass. Don't watch it.
But I guess we only ever had the sequels, and we were obsessed with this.
So you liked this as a kid then?
Loved it. I was obsessed.
You were quoting it while we were watching it.
This is one of those movies where I do have some of the lines memorized.
We watched this movie a year or two ago though. You and
we
me.
did, yeah.
Still kind of
fresh. It was
fresh.
a little fresh.
I watched this movie on repeat. I remember going to the theater to watch this because I was a big Batman Forever fan as a kid because I was right at that age. Batman Forever came out, I was 6. This came out, I was 8. Again, the first two Keaton ones, too dark for me as a kid. I saw them, I wasn't really into them.
Right.
Batman Forever, fucking loved it. I had every single toy for it. I was obsessed. So when this came out, it was a big deal. And I remember leaving the theater and just being so excited. And my older friend, who was maybe 12 or 13, was just kind of duh.
Wait, how old were you again?
8.
Why are you hanging out with 13-year-olds?
That's Amanda's brother.
Oh, okay.
Because he was a cool
friends.
kid.
That makes sense. I don't know why I assumed you were just friends with some random older kid. Okay.
No. He was about 3-4 years older
friends
than
with
me.
older
Yeah.
No, but that makes sense now when you put in that context of they were a siblings. I get that.
But yeah, we watched this about 2 years ago or whatever. And then
I remember loving it then.
you have a lot of fun with this movie. You have to be in the right mindset to enjoy this movie.
It is a fun movie.
It's fun. It's one of those so bad it's good.
Yeah.
You know? It's funny in that it's bad.
It goes all the way with its camping. It embraces it almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in no other parameter do I think this movie's good.
No, I don't think it's well written. I don't think it's well acted, even though there's some good actors in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Who did you think was bad?
Everybody. Who do you think was good?
Poison Ivy.
Okay. Let's move on.
I have a whole thing about her. She's basically the star of this movie, and I think we can all agree on that.
Huh?
Not even close. We'll get to it.
Really?
Let's move on. So this movie starts out with the suit up again, but this time suit up times 2 because we have Batman and Robin.
And we get double the ass shots.
Yeah.
Double the crotch shots, double the ass shots.
Double the nip.
Double the nip.
Double the nip.
Double the pleasure. Double the fun.
Double the Do you know, when I was little, I thought those shots were so cool. Like, to me, it was never weird or uncomfortable. Like,
No,
that's
not at
a
all.
close-up on someone's crotch and nips. Like, I was like, whoa, like, those outfits are so cool.
Yeah.
You've been posting a lot about the nipples on Instagram.
Well, they're very.
They're very pertinent. Yeah.
but I don't know if I got to that part in the...
At the very beginning.
Oh, then I did,
Yeah,
obviously.
you did.
I just didn't
So,
remember.
one thing I really like about the sequence is that it matches the last one exactly. It's the exact same thing in the exact same way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to talk about the things I do like about this movie. It's not completely void of anything good, but I like that Schumacher is trying to start each movie with like a mission. Like Batman is going on a mission, and it feels a lot like a serial thing, like an episodic kind of.
We start off like in the action
Yeah,
already.
like 007. Every James Bond movie, it doesn't start off with something boring. It starts off, he's on a mission.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then
It usually goes horribly wrong.
that mission, maybe, but that mission might carry on into the plot, and maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just, you know, that's just how we're going to start the movie. And so
Right.
I really like that concept. And you said last week, the suit up isn't bad in concept. It's just like, these outfits are weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty much it, right?
The shots are a little weird too.
Yeah.
They're just so, like, extreme.
Like, oh, hey, let's look at Clooney's ass for a second.
Because it doesn't... So, like, the suit up is like a close-up of them putting on their gloves and then their cape, and then they grab their accessories, and then it shows their nipples and it shows their butts in this one. But the butt shot lasts, it lingers, right? That's not just me.
I feel like the crotch shot does too.
It lingered for a little
Wait,
bit.
I'm realizing something. They accentuated all those parts. Did they ever zoom in on the biceps or quads or like actual muscle groups, or was it literally just crotch?
It was crotch, ass, and nips.
Nipples, yeah.
Like, that is kind of really
And they did the
weird.
same thing with
and you see
Batgirl
the-
later too. It was ass, crotch, and nips.
Oh, yeah.
Hers doesn't
same
have
thing.
nipple outlines.
It kind of
No,
did.
it doesn't.
No, but you can definitely see her nips. We'll get to that.
It's a point, but it's not like a. You can't see the
gonna show-
areola. And all
No, but
I'm going to show you a picture and you're going to go, ooh.
Can you link that in the description below?
I will, but we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so now costume talk. When we talk Batman, by the way, since you're new here, there's so much Batsuit talk to be had, right? Because Batman and his Batsuits and his variety of Batsuits and his ever-evolving suits is such a topic of discussion.
Yeah.
How do you feel about these Batsuits?
Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting to be asked this question.
You listened to the last episode, you said.
I did. I liked the suit. George Clooney as Batman has always been. First of all, he makes a good Batman, and that's probably a later topic that we'll talk about.
Okay, yeah, but
I like. Can I see a picture of it? I don't know if I really like all the muscle outlines. It's a little extreme.
that's what I was saying last week.
So let's get you caught up on our opinions. Is the suits should maybe not have to be based on male musculature. Mm-hmm. They should just be like clothing or like armor. You know, kind of like how the new ones are. Like, think of like all the Marvel costumes that they wear. Like Captain America isn't wearing a suit that looks like a naked male body.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But this isn't Schumacher's fault because he didn't start this trend. The first Batman with Keaton looked like this. It just didn't have nipples on it. He put the nipples on. And last week I said, I'm a defender of the nipples now because he has a point. His point was, you look at the costume and it's clearly like a Greek statue of like a male nude, but it's missing nipples. So it looks weird without them. And I'm like, yeah, you're kind of right. Because if you look
Well,
at...
if you have all the other muscles and, like, ligaments and joints.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
If you have all that and not the nipples, then yeah, that would look weird. But it doesn't look bad. I don't think it looks
I don't think it looks
It's
bad.
kind of cool.
I think his suit at the beginning of this movie looks a hell of a lot better than his suit at the end of the movie.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they all have kind of different weird outfits. Oh, I don't
Yeah.
like those.
I don't like the ones
I
at
don't
the
like all
end,
the
no.
silver. It's
Here's
weird.
Val Kilmer's. So last week I said that Val Kilmer's was the best one because they darkened the belt. It all just fits better on him. It's better designed and built than the last ones, even though it's made to look kind of like the last ones. The logo on the chest plate is darker in tone. It's not bright yellow. It's just like this gold color. And it looks amazing on him in action. The Clooney one is supposed to be the same exact thing, only they've blackened everything out. But it's kind of blue and like...
Which is a little odd.
Yeah, it's bluish and it's kind of highly reflective instead of more matte like Val Kilmer's was. And I just absolutely don't like it. Just mostly for that reason.
Oh, you, like, really don't like it?
I don't. And again, it's not that different than Val Kilmer's. It's just, they just made it worse, I think. It's so shiny. Like,
very
he's not
shiny.
hiding from anyone at nighttime. And this particular Batman doesn't try to hide at all.
He's very ballsy.
Yeah. Robin got a new suit, too. I love this one, though.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is based on Nightwing. Nightwing in the comics is when Dick Grayson is tired of being Robin, he breaks off from Batman, does his own thing, doesn't call himself Robin anymore. Fuck Batman. Calls himself Nightwing. What's awesome about Nightwing's costume is that it looks just like this. Like, they took the comic book costume and they just copied, pasted it, and they put it on screen. With the only exception is that Nightwing is blue. He's not red. They changed it to red. So this is Nightwing's costume.
Oh.
It might be red because he's still Robin in this.
That's pretty much it.
Oh, yeah.
He's technically still Robin, so they changed it to red, and they had a whole kind of red-black thing going on for him.
It does look good, though.
I like that they brought it forward. They used the Nightwing costume instead of the Robin costume, because he's also like an adult. He's like clearly in his 20s. So I think that works better for him. The only difference is that they added a cape. They made it red, they added a cape. But interestingly enough, Nightwing, like I said, was blue for a very, very long time. Now he's red. Well, in the New 52, they changed it to red. So like
10 years ago?
Like 8 or 9 years ago, yeah. They changed it to red after all this time. And so Batman and Robin, the movie, did it first. But they added a cape, because Nightwing doesn't traditionally have a cape. Do you guys want to know a fun fact about Dick Grayson?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In the DC universe, he's known, like canonically, to have the nicest ass.
Oh, like that's his thing?
That's his thing, is that he's like the hottest guy in all of DC Comics, but specifically he has the nicest ass.
Whoa. Not the actor who played him, but like
in the comics.
Actual comics.
Yeah.
That is a strange
Every
thing.
time he fights someone, they're always like, damn, he's got a nice butt. Like in the comics, they say this all the time.
Do they draw him with a nice ass?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look.
Oh, it's literally like he's...
Did it become like a running gag?
Yep.
Wait,
it's
so
a
funny.
running gag that he
he's got like girl butt.
He has a juicy ass.
He's got like that Black Widow thing going on.
Oh, he's got a dump truck, yeah.
If you covered his face, you would think that, that's Black Widow.
Kind of, yeah. Well, he's got the batons, too, kind of like Black Widow.
That's badass. Ooh.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be like the most attractive male in all of like DC Comics, is Dick Grayson.
That's such like a random side character to be like the most attractive.
Well, he's a pretty major
Robin,
character.
What do you mean? Yeah, he's super major.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Because that's why they held on his ass for a little bit longer, and I'm like, I don't know if that perpetuated the whole joke, like this movie.
Yeah, what came first?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm
Chris O'Donnell's ass or Nightwing's ass?
Or Dick Grayson having just like the nicest butt.
Well, wouldn't that be like a nod to the comics? If they
It depends.
lingered?
This movie's 1997.
It depends on what happened first.
Yeah, because in this movie they show their butts way too much. I don't know if you noticed this. It's all man ass.
Is that a Schumacher thing?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
I wonder why.
Well, Schumacher's like this openly gay, pretty flamboyant guy.
Oh, okay. Well,
So you're probably like, George Clooney,
yeah.
Chris
There's
O'Donnell.
there's a lot of
a lot of attractive men.
like gay parallels in these movies.
That's right. You were telling me about that.
So they're gonna go on a mission, and the Batmobile shows up. The new one. What do you think about this new Batmobile?
Whoa! It looks like a car. Like a futuristic... No, sorry. I always thought his mobile was like much like a tank or something. I don't know.
That's more of a Christopher Nolan
Yeah,
thing.
the new one, it's a tank.
But this just looks like a very modern, like, what are those crazy looking cars? Like, I don't know anything about cars. So.
It looks like wacky racers.
It doesn't look
Wacky
like something
races.
that would exist ever.
No. So, and it's not that it's that much crazier than the last one. What it is that it has a single open cockpit.
Yeah.
Which is...
dumb.
He can just get shot in the head. Where's the protection? Like, what if the car flips over? Also, his head kind of like sits kind of high. So it's like a weird kind of race car aesthetic.
Not a good design on this
I
Batmobile.
kind of hate it, yeah. I
And,
like the last one so
there's-
much better. I kind of like the back cutout in the front. It's a little more kind of the Adam West flair from that red and black Batmobile with the big red bat in the front. But
this looks ridiculous.
Overall, not a fan of this one. Also, it doesn't, like the way it's shaped, it just doesn't look like it can drive. And the last ones didn't either, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it's just, again, the open cockpit that's really kind of small.
Yeah, what if he has to, like, drive someone?
You're like, sorry, no space.
That's what I feel like it's kind of a nod to, like, this one.
Oh.
A little bit.
That one looks better.
Wait, that was a Batmobile? That just looks like a
1960s
Cadillac.
I don't think it's a Cadillac, but it's a car that they just kind of, like, added a bunch of shit to.
Oh.
This is the 1966 one from the Adam West show. But I do like the new Redbird, which is Robin's motorcycle.
Yeah.
That was okay.
And we learned in the last movie he's a big motorcycle guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. He's so cool.
He is cool. Yeah.
I was obsessed with him as a kid. Like, he's really hot. I love any character that like rides a motorcycle and is like just cool. Just like cool characters like that. Like I'm obsessed with. I was just thinking about Ghost Rider. Ooh.
Doesn't wear a helmet though.
That's even
Yeah,
cooler.
that's unsafe.
Yeah. I was reading a whole article about like a push for like movie heroes to wear helmets.
Well,
when
they
wear
should.
motorcycles to like
what?
promote that.
That's kind of like a good thing.
And based on like statistics, like at the time when this movie was coming out, like half of motorcycle riders weren't wearing helmets, and now it's like 1 in 4 and 1
You know
in
what's
5
cool?
or so.
Wearing a helmet.
Yeah, for sure.
Being safe is cool.
Being safe is cool.
But that article was referencing newer movies. Like I was like, oh, this is 1997. You can't get away with this anymore. But Captain America doesn't wear a helmet when he rides his motorcycle. He's also Captain America, like he's super powered. But there's a
he's
scene
probably like the one person that doesn't need to wear.
Right, and you get it. It's like, oh, and he kind of he wears a helmet anyway. It's not a motorcycle helmet.
He wears
but
a
it's
Captain
Oh,
America.
he
He wears his
does.
It's
Captain
a
America helmet.
soldier helmet.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
could probably keep him safe, but there's
Maybe.
in Avengers 2, Black Widow rides a motorcycle without a helmet.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, and then
She
they
should wear
cited
one.
other ones like in Mission Impossible. He doesn't wear a helmet.
Oh, Tom Cruise would never wear a helmet.
At the same time, this is Hollywood, and kind of like people imitate this kind of thing. They see their heroes not wearing helmets,
Which is
they might be
stupid,
less
by the way.
inclined to wear them. Yeah, or a lot of times it's the bad guys that are wearing the helmets. Like
Whoa.
like in Deadpool, like he's chased by motorcycles. They all have matching helmets because it makes them look sinister, you know.
That's true.
But then the
'Cause you can't
heroes
see
don't
their
get
face.
helmets.
Because you need to see their face because they're acting.
Yeah, you know the new Batman sidekick that they introduced in during Rebirth. Not only does he wear a motorcycle helmet, but the motorcycle helmet's part of his costume.
That's clever.
Oh, I forget what his name is. I'm not going to look it up. So moving on. So they go on a mission, and it's to stop Mr. Freeze. We meet him right away, right? And they get there, and Mr. Freeze is stealing diamonds from a museum. Do you remember?
I do remember that.
I do remember that because I wrote in my notes here, what the fuck are these huge gaudy ass diamonds? Because they were comically big. That's all I remember.
They looked like straight out of a cartoon.
Yeah, and that's kind of what this movie is doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of trying to be a cartoon.
But I kind of
Yeah.
like that. Like, I'm not complaining about it. I thought it was kind
Yeah.
of like, it's the campy,
It is super campy, and it has its appeal.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm like, now I'm remembering how the movie got rolling and why the diamonds were like a thing.
Yeah, so he's stealing diamonds. We find out later, but it's to power like his freeze gun and
Yeah, I think at first we're like, why the fuck is he stealing diamonds when he can just steal money?
Right, yeah. I remember being confused, but I was like, oh, he's using them to power shit.
Yeah.
yeah. Mr. Freeze, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, only speaks in one-liners, right?
Yeah,
There's
which,
no
Oh, yeah.
there's no other dialogue that's not like a quippy pun one-liner, right?
yeah, and that kind of sucks because Mr. Freeze is one of those villains that actually has like a tragic story too.
Do you want to get into Mr. Freeze's like who he is as a character?
Do you want to do that now or do you want to
I
go
say
through
we
the
do
plot
it now,
first?
organically.
Organically. Okay.
Organically.
All right, let's talk about Mr.
Yeah,
Freeze.
so if we want to break down Mr. Freeze, he was introduced during like the golden era of Batman. So I think it was like the 40s, 50s, when they were just writing wacky villain after wacky villain because that's kind of what Batman was at the time.
Yeah.
That's what his villains were. They were all just kind of wacky one-off villains that they would use just literally once, and it was very much villain of the week kind of deal. And so eventually they started repeating some villains. Like the Joker was only meant to be a one-time villain. At the end, he's not dead because they weren't allowed to like kill people in the comic books, but they weren't going to bring him back. And then the publisher liked him so much that Bob Kane convinces Bill Finger to write more Joker stories, right? And then the kind of same thing happens with all these villains, but some stuck and some didn't, right? But
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze was just this wacky guy freezing shit. There's no depth to him.
No.
It wasn't until Batman the Animated Series, and they said we could probably rewrite this character and make him super, super interesting.
And they did. They really did.
That episode of Batman the Animated Series called Heart of Ice won them an Emmy because they took this character and they made him very not wacky. All his emotions froze with that. He has no sense of humor. He has no levity. He has no emotion at all.
Very like serious.
Incredibly so. Yeah, he's very robotic. And in that episode, you learn about his backstory, which was written originally for that episode of the TV show. It's what we saw in this movie. It's that his wife was sick, and he had to freeze her in order to buy him time to come up with
Make a cure.
a cure.
Because he's a
like
doctor.
He's like a doctor, researcher, super smart guy or whatever.
I feel like they went over that stuff really quick. Like if you
Oh, yeah,
weren't
they
paying
barely
attention,
glossed over in this movie.
like I honestly didn't even remember that till like just now.
Yeah. The thing is, that episode came out in like 92, 93, maybe 94 or something like that.
Yeah.
They could have gone that direction, but the studio at this point is basically telling Schumacher, less of the serious shit, more of the kid stuff. Like, the last movie was okay. We liked what you did with it, but it was still too serious. So get rid of all that psychoanalysis bullshit and just give us wacky characters. So, you know, they kind of try to do what they can in that parameter, but what are you going to do? You know, so in that episode, by the end, he gets captured and they do the thing where he cries and his tear just freezes off.
Oh, yeah.
So there's all these elements that this movie took from that, but it basically combined both versions of the character. This serious, very tragic version of Mr. Freeze and the wacky, just kind of one-off Batman, like fucking Clock King and all these crazy Batman villains, you know? There's one called the Polka Dot Man. And they're bringing him back in the new Suicide Squad.
Wait,
Oh,
why?
boy.
Yeah, he just like throws polka dots. But James Gunn is making it work. I don't know how he's going to make it work, but it's James Gunn.
It's probably going to be a joke.
It's probably going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So, but this Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He's like a white dad with dad jokes.
With dad jokes. It's just dad jokes left and right. You couldn't tell that he's haunted or experienced trauma or tragedy in any way.
No, because he's like cracking jokes and
He's having-
robbing a
Yeah.
museum.
Yeah, he's having so much fun as Mr. Freeze.
Which, you know, good for him. He had fun in the role.
Sure, but like I'm saying, the character's having fun doing all this shit. He's got all these fucking like hockey thugs that he hired.
And they're really good at hockey.
They're that's what I'm saying. I think they're probably hockey players. He just like,
Hey, come
hired.
work for me.
Yeah. And then so Batman and Robin, ever the prepared Batman and Robin, they're like, oh, we need to fight hockey thugs.
And they
this
click
place
their
is
heels
frozen.
together.
Ice skates come out. As a kid, I distinctly remember thinking, this is amazing.
Oh,
I thought it
loved
was
it.
awesome because I also was obsessed with like ice skating when I was a kid. I rollerbladed.
Really?
Yeah, I rollerbladed a lot because growing up in, Florida and being from Puerto Rico, I didn't see snow until I was like older. Never saw ice, never ice skated. I always wanted to do that stuff, you know?
Ice skating's fun.
It
is
is fun. Yeah, so they just click their heels, ice skates come out. It's calling back to the Adam West Batman that he's like, oh, shark? Well, I've got a shark repellent spray, you know?
repellent.
Like on hand?
Yeah, he just has anything in his utility belt, he's ready to go. So it's a joke, but also like some people did want to take this movie seriously, and it's stuff like that.
That really...
5 minutes into the movie.
It kind of stops you from doing that.
Yeah. Kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth, right?
Oh, there's more ridiculous shit later.
So, yeah, they have a whole fight on skates. He steals, or one of the thugs, like, hockey sticks. So he's playing hockey with a diamond. It's ridiculous.
And he's kind of good at it, too.
Obviously, Batman and Robin are amazing at everything. So it's like they trained for this, you know?
We're ready.
If you went into this movie thinking, I want this to be kind of serious, and maybe I can live with the hockey stuff, well, too bad, because then his car turns into a rocket ship, right?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
At the very beginning.
Oh,
Remember,
yes.
we were all like, what the fuck?
I was so confused. I'm like, first of all, that thing is huge. Like, how did that even get in there? And now it's like shooting off into space.
Because he drives like this tank. It's like a
that.
Zamboni tank kind of thing with spikes and a freeze ring
That
on
was
it.
intense.
And for whatever reason, his big escape was going to be shoot through the roof in a rocket
In
ship.
a rock.
Which,
Yeah.
and later on, his whole plan is to raise enough money to hold the city ransom to get more money. That way he can research his wife's
Weird
condition
plan.
or whatever. But you had enough money for a rocket ship.
You probably
Where-
could have used that money for the research.
Exactly. So,
Fucking idiot.
yeah, so Batman's in the rocket ship. Robin jumps on the outside like a dumbass. Why would you ever do that? And they're
And
like,
he's just hanging on to it.
right, and they're
I
like
was
well
thinking,
into the
like,
stratosphere.
Like Spider-Man in Infinity War.
Yeah. They're like well into the stratosphere before Robin comes inside. Mr. Freeze escapes, freezes Batman. Robin saves the day, and then they both go.
Is
you
that
know,
when they start air surfing down
Yes.
to Earth again?
They air surf down off of the rocket. Do they like rip a piece off of the rocket and just
The doors.
Yeah.
They just held onto the doors, and I guess that helped them
They
on the way
they
down.
like kick the doors down. I'm like, this rocket ship must have just not been made properly.
You know what I'm
because
convinced why that happened is because like a year before this movie came out, the Power Rangers movie came out.
I was thinking about that scene at the beginning where they...
Yeah. At the
Except that
beginning-
scene was good.
It is much better than this. Yeah, they're all going skydiving
Yeah.
because they're Power Rangers and they do extreme sports for
And
fun.
of course, Tommy the White Ranger has his little fucking board that
he has like a snowboard, and so it looks like he's snowboarding in the sky.
It is cool looking though.
It's cool looking, but why would you ever take a snowboard up playing? Yeah,
you shut me down for talking about my birthday, and y'all are now talking about Power Rangers.
It's relevant
It's
to the
relevant.
scene.
No.
Yeah. I'm convinced that's why they did that. They're like, oh, that look, kids like
Yeah.
that. We got to put that
Except,
in
you
our
know,
fucking Batman
the
movie.
low-budget Power Rangers movie did it better than this Hollywood
you know what?
blockbuster.
The other thing that looked kind of Power Ranger-y is when Mr. Freeze jumps down, he has like these wings, but they're clearly made out of metal and can't fly. And he looks like a Power Rangers villain.
Wait, is that when it's like a butterfly or moth wings?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they
Yeah.
look like they have a design on them.
Yeah.
That I remember distinctly watching that as a kid and thinking it was weird as a kid.
It is weird.
How is he floating down with that? He's just going to sink.
Why does he have wings?
No, that wasn't the weird part for me.
He's
It
just
was
going
the
to drop
design.
like a bomb.
I didn't
Yeah,
like
it was
the
weird.
design.
So they all just kind of fall into a furnace. They all survive miraculously. Right?
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
And at the very least, Batman and Robin are supposed to have capes that act as gliders. That's kind of one of Batman's main traits. And he doesn't really use it a whole lot in this movie.
He doesn't really use it in
Especially-
any movie that much.
Well, yeah, but this is the point in the movie where it'll save your ass if you can glide down. So they go down to the furnace. Robin gets frozen.
Like an
Freeze gets
idiot.
away. So they have to kind of regroup after this, right? Then we cut to
Introduce-
South America.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In that
this
little
is-
greenhouse
Yeah,
lab.
we meet Pamela Isley talking to herself. All she does in this movie is talk to herself.
that is true. I realized Pamela Isley is supposed to sound like Poison Ivy.
It's the initials, yeah.
Yeah. Did you get that?
Yeah.
I got that when I was a child.
Same.
Whoa! I thought I did. I write that down? No, I didn't. Okay, I'm glad I didn't write that.
Big discovery.
Yeah. So her gig, right, is that she wants to animalize plants so they can kind of fend for themselves
Yeah.
because
She's
humans
really
are
into
destroying the
plants.
environment.
Yeah,
and
humans are the
global warming
fucking
and whatever.
worst.
To be fair, that is Poison Ivy's thing in the comics too. Like they kind of did that aspect of her justice where in the comics she can kind of talk to plants and control plants and manipulate them, which she doesn't really do in this movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
she
But-
does. Kind of.
Sorta.
Loosely.
Like she can in the comics she can control them. And in this one, not as much. Like she makes them grow, but because she has like a powder or whatever.
No, at one point she goes, "My vines have a crush on you," and then they all like get Batman. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, but then her own plants like attack her.
Then they turn on her. Yeah.
So I'm not really clear on what her powers are. But one thing that she does do is she does like animalize plants in the comics, and so like they like eat people. In the HBO show, in
the Harley Quinn.
the
show?
Harley Quinn show, Poison Ivy in that has like a plant that like talks and eats people.
Oh wow.
That's a really good show.
I love Poison Ivy.
That show is so good. You saw an episode with me.
I did. I actually
Yeah.
kind of want to watch it.
No, that show's
I want
amazing.
to watch it too.
Yeah, so all she does is talk to herself. She's talking to a recorder, just kind of like introducing herself and all the people around her.
Yeah.
Right? And her next door evil villain is
Who she, like,
up to
works
something.
for.
Oh, yeah.
Like
they're
he's like locked in a secret lab.
it's like Dr. Jason something.
I always thought growing up that they were in cahoots together, and that was just like, oh, like they're working together, and she doesn't know what he was doing in his lair. Like I had no idea that they were just two separate people. I thought they worked.
I think
together.
they're doing their own research separately. They just happen to be like lab mates
Like, they,
or
like-
neighbors.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because then she's like, oh, you know, what the hell is he up to in there? Blah, blah.
Yeah, so she
Oh,
sneaks
okay.
in. She sneaks in at the most opportune moment because he's about to start his bidding with all of like the world's most terrible leaders. He calls
For
it.
his super soldier serum.
What does he call it? He calls it like the Ununited Nations or something. And he's basically bidding over like this new super soldier that he's created.
Not Captain America.
No, it's Bane. Do you guys know about like Bane in the comics?
I know nothing.
He
about
was
it.
a very smart guy. I know that.
Bane, first of all, he's South American or Mexican. It's kind of not super clear, but he's Latino of some sort,
Yeah.
right?
They definitely went with that with the costume.
Oh,
in
yeah.
This movie, like
No,
one of
that's
those
his costume kind of in
Because he-
general. He's a very like
Mexican
luchador.
fighters. Yeah, luchador.
He
yeah.
does use a luchador's mask, and so they sort of did that with him in this one. But in the comics, he's like the child of a criminal in whatever country he's from, because it's vague, so as to not like insult Mexico or Guatemala or whatever.
I feel like he'd be Guatemalan.
Yeah, I guess, sure. Like Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
I love Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, he's Guatemalan. He's the son of a criminal, and his dad gets away. So what they do is that they arrest the kid, and they give him his dad's life sentence. So
That's
grows
really
up.
fucked.
In what world is that? Like
Well, again, some fucked up third world country,
God.
but they don't name it because they don't want to be like, "Hey, Mexico sucks." Like you would imprison a child. You know what I mean?
That would be offensive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So young Bane and his little teddy bear that he always carries, his osito that he carries with him, has to be raised in like a crazy maximum security jail with a bunch of murderers or whatever. And
Which is weird as
And in
fuck.
that environment, he becomes super smart because he just reads books.
There's nothing else to do.
And he studies, and he keeps to himself while also kind of fending for himself. And then he eventually escapes, and something happens to him. He gets tortured so much that he needs the venom. It's called venom in the comics also. It's like the serum that he gets pumped into him to muffle out the pain. But it also acts like a steroid. It does make him stronger. So the more venom, that part is kind of accurate. But a lot of people kind of get upset that Bane has been like essentially whitewashed always because he's never played by like a Latino man. Because in the comics,
especially in the Nolan ones.
yeah, he always has like an accent. Like he has a heavy accent usually, like in the cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be like Latin American. And in the Nolan ones, he's played by like an English guy.
Yeah, for this one,
Tom Hardy.
With a vague accent, like your day of reckoning is upon you, Batman.
What is that from?
From the Tom Hardy one.
Oh,
From
I was
The
saying
Dark Knight Rises.
in this one, it's just some scrawny, cracked out white dude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Bane is supposed to be super, super, super intelligent also.
Oh, I see.
So,
And no movie ever really... I guess Dark Knight Rises
Dark
kind
Knight
of...
Rises does him really well, with the exception is that they don't make him Latino.
Oh, I don't remember anything from that Bane.
Or give him a luchador mask, or give him Venom.
They give him Venom. It's just like a gas
it's like-
thing.
yeah.
I like how they. No, I like that movie. And I like
That
how
one's
they did
also
him.
a lot more grounded,
I just
though.
wish
so.
he'd. My only complaint is that he wasn't Latino. But moving on. So he's just some scrawny guy that they give, a super soldier serum to, and he becomes like this docile Bane.
And then does pretty much nothing for the rest of the movie.
He's just
He's a lackey.
Exactly. So the doctor, Jason, he catches Pamela Isley, played by Uma Thurman, snooping on him, and so follows her back to her own lair, and then just like pushes her up against a bunch of chemicals, and like all the chemicals just fall on her.
And then she like kind of melts into the ground.
She literally like disintegrates into the ground.
He's kind of a wacky character. I liked him, Dr. Jason.
Yeah, too bad he doesn't really do much either.
He's just like, you'll just have to die.
You sounded just like him.
I've seen this movie so many times. No, I like that guy.
It was like when when Shrek threw Catwoman out the window.
Yeah, it was very similar.
He's like, I'll just have to kill you.
Have you seen the memes where it's like, the genre of superhero movies where the gross nerd turns into the supervillain? And it's pictures of Uma Thurman in this movie, Catwoman in that movie, the Riddler in his movie. It's all just like gross hair and like big glasses, and they end up turning into the villain. And fucking from Amazing Spider-Man 2. Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
And his like glasses are all crooked, and he has a pocket protector, and he's like, ooh,
I
like
can't wait till we get to
Spider-Man.
that movie.
Oh my god, that movie's so bad.
I kind of like it.
I really hate it.
Wait, which movie is that again?
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
With Andrew
Andrew
Garfield.
Garfield, yeah.
I
Jamie
like
Foxx.
I like the Garfield movies. That's a hot take. We'll get to that in like a year.
Ooh.
I hate them. Yeah.
I've never seen them.
Yes, you have.
I saw the first one once. I've never seen the second.
We weren't dating, but I had a crush on you when we saw that movie together.
Oh, we had a crush.
A crush on your wife?
Isn't that cute?
Wow.
This was like 9 years ago.
He still has a crush on me.
Yeah, was that like
That's
2011?
Something like that, yeah. 2012, I
Maybe
think.
2012.
I think 2012.
2012, yeah.
Came out the same year as Dark Knight Rises because we saw that movie together.
We
too.
did before we were dating.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
And you were trying to like flirt.
Okay.
I want to hear more
So,
about that later.
conveniently,
We'll get into it later, don't worry.
because remember, she's telling her recorder, yeah? I like how she's trying to come up with the perfect formula for her plant toxins, and Dr. Jason just pushes like a whole cabinet of chemicals on top of her, and that's the formula that
He
works.
solved it. He's actually
Yeah.
the genius.
She hadn't thought of just loosely just pouring them all on top of herself.
I mean,
because she comes up from like the ashes and she's reborn.
And she's a whole different, she's like all sexy and confident and like totally different.
And she has makeup on now.
Oh yeah, then she got makeup from
no
the
more
plants.
gross glasses. Yeah. What a nerd.
But doesn't she say something like, "Oh, my blood's been replaced with like"?
If she already automatically knows
what
exactly
does she say? Like
what's
chloroplast. I don't know what she.
Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll.
Yeah, chlorophyll is what makes energy for plants from sunlight. So does she have to be outside all the time?
Photosynthesis.
Exactly. And she says, "And my lips with," and then kisses Jason.
Poison.
And then says poison.
And then her eyes roll back, and she's like, poison.
And so, for whatever reason, all the evil people left, but left Bane behind. That didn't make any sense. So she's like, "Hey,
and Bane just
boy."
listens to her.
In fairness, he's supposed to be a super soldier, and he's supposed to be docile.
Oh, okay.
That's the point of that
She's
experiment.
his commander now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's just her bodyguard. And she's like, "Well, we need money so I can turn the whole world into a plant world." Right? That's her end game. And so she's like, "Let's go see Wayne, who is funding her research." And that's how she gets to Gotham City.
So when she goes to see Wayne, she's not already like a full-fledged, here's my evil plan type of villain. Because
she's legitimately trying to get like funding from him.
Right. And then you definitely see her progress as a villain throughout, because towards the end, she's like, so many people to kill. And she's like all excited about killing people.
So
like,
little time.
So little time.
Maybe.
So I'm like, what happened to her at that point? Like,
I didn't really get that impression that she has an arc in this. I just thought...
She's the main character in this whole movie.
I just thought she's Poison Ivy from like this point on.
No, I noticed.
It seems kind of like Poison Ivy kind of takes the role that Riddler had in the last movie.
All these villains are exactly the same.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. That's the problem with these movies.
And she's like, "Oh, let me go to Bruce Wayne, try to get some money." Bruce Wayne's like, "Nah, but I'm glad you're okay." And then she's like, "I'm evil now."
I don't know why. I just, as a kid, she's like the main part of this movie that I remember, and it's because I think I thought she was really cool as a kid.
I think it's because you're a girl, yeah.
Well, also, she's a great actress, and she does kind of steals the scene when she's in it.
She does. I will say that she steals the show when whatever scene she's in, she steals it.
That being said, her direction in this movie, not great. That's not her fault.
I don't like her at all in this movie.
She is by far my favorite character.
She's got some good scenes, don't get me wrong. And Uma Thurman's a good actress.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything here for her to do in. She's mostly just talking to herself.
When she kissing people.
Okay, so when she goes, it's like 2 scenes after this, she goes to see Bruce Wayne, like we said, and she gives him a proposal to basically cut carbon emissions and go green.
Yeah, and he's like, "I can't just like do that."
He says, "I can't do that all at once," because she left nothing in for like infrastructure. Basically, it was like 0 carbon emissions right away. So like everyone has to turn off their
We
electricity.
still haven't done that today in the real world.
Well, yeah, this is before like renewable energy. And I just love how it's 1997 and she's like, "Hey, like, the planet's going to die and we need to do something about it." And everyone just laughs at her.
Yeah.
Like no one knows about global warming yet, except for like just the scientists. But when she gets turned down by Bruce Wayne, she turns around and just is literally talking to herself out loud, and like
she's
talks
monologuing.
About she's monologuing her evil plan.
I think that's why I relate to her, because I talk out loud to myself all the time, and she does that throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, but that's because she's written poorly.
Oh, I thought she was
are
relatable.
Are you written poorly?
No, she's relatable.
Well.
When I was little, I was obsessed with this movie, and like her green things she has like around her eyes. It's not makeup. It's like
a plant thing, yeah.
These like plant things. I made those out of paper. I literally cut them out, drew them, colored them green, and I taped them on my face.
That's such a Sable thing to do.
When I was a kid, I made a Robin domino mask from this movie too.
Oh shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh my god, we're really doing the same thing.
Did you also make Wolverine claws out of tin foil and cardboard?
I did.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Holy shit.
And I walked around going, shink, shink.
Oh my god, we also put knives, like real knives.
Whoa.
No, like butter knives, where we put them in between and we would have to like unload the dishwasher, and we would just like, I don't know why we were allowed to do this, but we would like just be like, "Oh, cool," and then we just like put them back.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was always making props like that.
So meanwhile, we see Mr. Freeze's lair. It's just like all frozen.
It's an ice cream factory. Is it like an production, or is it like a...
So.
There was live ice cream in that huge,
comically
big vat that Robin falls in later.
Okay, well, to be fair, I think that's how they make ice cream, though, in like big batches like that.
So then it's clearly still in production.
And it was clearly like mint ice cream.
Mint.
it's obviously the entire thing is frozen.
Yeah.
And all of his henchmen are all freezing to death. And he's watching cartoons because he's another Joker.
And he's just like laughing.
Exactly.
This is another Ghost Rider parallel.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
It really is.
Ghost Rider, turn on the TV.
Watching weird cartoons and monkeys and shit.
He's like making his henchmen sing along. And then his little girlfriend shows up. Who is she? Why is she there? That didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
It's just like this chick who is wearing like a skimpy outfit and she's like used to the cold because she's obsessed with him.
Yeah, but he has a wife.
Well, here's the thing. I always thought, oh, that's his girlfriend or whatever. That's his little like thing on the side. And she's hitting on him. She's like, hey, like, why don't we go warm up? Like, blah,
Let's
blah, blah.
fuck.
Like, basically. And he's like, get the fuck away from me. I'm married. Well, then what is she doing there? You hired her, right?
And then she goes, talk about a cold shoulder.
Yeah.
And runs away.
Again, why is she there? What is her purpose?
I know what.
candy.
Do you remember the next scene? It prompts him to go into the whole thing about his wife. I think
Oh,
that's
yes,
why
my
she
wife.
was.
No, I'm
She's
saying
frozen.
in universe, why was she hired to be a henchman?
I don't know.
Oh, well,
If she's not actually his like,
Maybe she's just a groupie.
just let herself
I liked
in.
her outfit.
Ooh, cold shoulder.
Talk about your cold shoulder.
She literally said that.
Yeah, but you're right. The movie reason is so that it transitioned into
Right.
meeting his wife.
Right.
Yeah.
But it
Who's
makes no
frozen
sense
still.
for her to be there if he clearly, one, has no interest in her, two,
Right.
she doesn't really do anything except hit on him.
Again,
Maybe
what's
she's
her-
there to motivate
what's
the
her
other
job?
henchmen.
Like,
Motivation for the henchmen.
just have like a sexy black secretary. Is that her job? Is she the secretary?
Probably.
Does he have a? Does he need a secretary?
Oh,
Who's
big op-
calling? His
Big,
lair.
big operation. I don't know. So, whatever. And then you see the wife frozen in the, and like we said, they did take that origin from
Yeah,
the
they just
Batman animated
kind of
series.
butchered it and made it.
Yeah, they talk about
not
it for
important at all.
10 seconds and then we cut away.
Yeah, and they use it as an excuse for him to lose his temper like once in the movie,
Yeah.
maybe twice.
So back at Wayne Manor, the doorbell rings and Alfred doesn't answer it because the subplot in this movie is that Alfred is dying.
We don't know that yet, but
Yeah, sure. Okay. And it's Alicia Silverstone.
Love her.
Did you know that she was the only one that considered for this role, and it's because of like her extreme popularity at this point because of Clueless.
Because of clues.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what's interesting is that so it's Alicia Silverstone. They meet her, and she introduces herself as Barbara something, not Gordon.
Not Gordon.
It's Barbara. It's not Pennyworth either.
Starts
but
with an S.
it doesn't matter. So
Oh.
she
Silverstone.
yeah, Silverstone.
That's what I was.
I think that's what it is. But she is Alfred's niece in this one.
Yes.
And I get why they did that because usually in the comic books, she is Commissioner Gordon's daughter.
Oh.
And it puts her in an interesting position because her dad is the chief of police and she's hanging out with Batman, being a Batgirl, right?
Ooh.
Vigilante.
Right, being a vigilante.
Juicy.
And that's what they probably should have done, but I get why they did it because in these movies, Gordon doesn't really play a big role.
He just kind of shows
at
up and
all.
does stupid shit. And
He
then,
just says, Batman, you're needed to do this, and then just kind of walks away.
I don't even remember him as a character in these movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He turns on the light.
Yeah, he turns
Oh.
on.
Turns on the bat signal.
He's in all four of them. Same actor too.
Whoa.
It's crazy that that's one of the characters that
Yeah.
stayed consistent through this whole series.
him and Alfred basically are the
Yeah.
only ones. But we don't know him very well, and you can see how this movie's already has too many characters. Why spend time with Commissioner Gordon when the point of this subplot is to spend time with Alfred?
Right.
So I get why they made her Alfred's niece instead of Gordon's.
No, it makes sense
daughter.
that they did that.
However, she's clearly American. There's no buts about it, right? They don't explain it. She goes, "Oh no, I'm here from London," like, and that's it.
All right.
And everyone's like, "Okay, you're clearly Alicia Silverstone, like American sweetheart." no accent, nothing, no explanation as to not. Oh yeah, but I was raised in America. None of that. She's like, "I'm here from London." That's what she says. So okay.
Yeah.
Kids don't care. They don't know what a British accent is, so
no,
fuck it.
they wouldn't.
And
know.
Alfred's like super apologetic about not being able to answer the door because Bruce is like, Alfred,
Yeah, I
where
mean,
are
hey,
you?
You're on the payroll. Like,
Yeah.
get the fucking door.
And then he's like,
Damn.
oh, I'm so sorry, Master Wayne. He's like, it happened once in like 30 years. You're fine.
yeah. George Clooney, Bruce Wayne is obviously concerned because he's like, I've never seen you miss the door. Like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
That's your first signal that something's wrong with him.
I think when I forgot that he had like a health issue, so watching this back now, it was kind of obvious that he had like, they really...
There's plenty of foreshadowing.
Oh, they're like smacking you in the face with it.
Oh, yeah. But even from that scene, I'm like, oh, there's a reason why he didn't get up. Like, clearly he's not okay.
He coughs earlier in the first scene of the movie. If a character coughs, it's because he's dying. There's no reason to have him cough otherwise. So we meet Alicia Silverstone, Barbara, and she is pretending to be this nice schoolgirl, blah, 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 but really sneaks out at night
she's a little punk.
She's a little
punk-ass street rat. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
She is actually kind of badass in this movie.
She kind of is.
And she races motorcycles.
So Bruce Wayne and Alfred and Robin figure out that Mr. Freeze is after diamonds. He needs them to power his suit. He needs them to power his ray gun. And
he needs them for everything, really.
Yeah, it's such a stupid MacGuffin, but he needs diamonds. So he's like, Alfred, go get the diamonds from the Wayne collection. They're going to host a gala in order to use it as bait and lure Mr. Freeze over. So they host this big gala, and for whatever reason, Batman and Robin make a public appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just kind of standing there on stage and they're like
they're fucking Bozo the Clown.
Yeah,
like,
were they there to take pictures or like what?
To like lure people there, and they have a one of those date raffles where, you know, you raffle off like
a date with
like a girl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they're all
bidding.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Seemed kind of weird and rapey, but okay.
Is that a thing that happened?
That is a real thing, but the way that they were like, because at one point they're like, $50,000 on this girl. I feel like they think they're getting laid. You know what I mean?
Oh,
They probably do.
yeah.
We were talking about last week when we talked about the music, the score in these movies. What I said last week was that I hate the theme. The theme is not better than Danny Elfman's theme, but the score I think is better because it's very unique. It's very jazzy. It's
It is
loud.
very jazzy.
It's like that in this one too.
Yeah, it's the same. It's almost the same thing. And I just love how unique it is because you don't see a comic book movie and they're going to go, we're going to go in a weird direction with the music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The music when Poison Ivy shows up at the gala, I can sing it to you. Like, it is so iconic.
I
now
was
for
just
me.
playing it in my head when you were saying that.
Yeah.
It's so iconic. Her entire entrance into this party is iconic. I have a whole write-up about it right here.
Tell us.
So what do you think? Because
If
she shows up in an ape costume and then slowly kind of takes it
Yes.
off, and it's really something. That might be the best part of this movie, honestly.
It is. Well, my whole thing is, was she invited to this party? Like,
Obviously
she's
not.
No.
crashing this party and
Well,
makes...
it's rich people. Whoever's rich is invited.
I literally wrote Poison Ivy's entrance to a party she wasn't even invited to was iconic. She like slowly takes off parts of that big fluffy ape costume and like she's looking so good in her sparkly ass that outfit is
The
like
green one.
iconic. Yeah, because throughout the movie her outfit and her makeup changes drastically.
Yeah.
It gets more extreme. At one point towards the end her eyebrows are like painted way up on her forehead like
I was looking at that.
yeah.
It looked like real hair, though. They, like, stitched that hair in, I think.
Yeah, and you can tell where they covered up
But
her
it's hair.
real
Yeah.
eyebrows.
Because
with
it's
makeup.
way up here.
It's way up there, yeah.
But I remember I was looking at it. It's hair.
Oh,
so.
wow. That's pretty cool. But her original debut outfit is so freaking cool.
the
Like,
green
it's
one.
gorgeous.
It's just like a light green bodysuit.
She has light green
and then big
fishnets.
boots.
But
that's
it's
it.
pure sparkle and glitter. It's so cool.
Oh, I think I might be thinking about
might be thinking of
a
something
different
different.
outfit.
No, her original
She's very
outfit...
like glitzy.
Very glitzy.
sorry,
Her eye
it's a
makeup's
gala outfit.
beautiful.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but it's just a leotard, and then she's got her like little tights on. But she literally is like stepping on people as she walks down.
Well-
like those, is she compelling them though?
Yes. So she has a pheromone that she designed.
Yeah.
That she releases from like her little wrists.
It's kind of rapey.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
And it
Well-
it works like an animal pheromone would, where it just kind of like I guess compels people to like fall in love with her.
Right.
You know, they're gaga. They can't really reason anymore.
No, they can't think for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's really heavy on the CGI, but she blows it all over the room, and everyone's like, ah.
They audibly sigh.
And the music, all I can think about is the music.
I want to. Can we please play a snippet of it? I'm hearing it in my head, but I can't replicate it with my voice. Otherwise, it'll just sound really stupid.
Yep.
I was about to go like, I can't even do it. Like
I
you
can
just
put a
have
bit
to...
of it in, but it's not going to sound good if I just play it here.
Oh,
And you.
I love.
I love that
Sounds
guy
like
when he
he's about
says
to
it.
cry. It's so great.
So then Mr. Freeze crashes the party, though. He ruins all of Poison Ivy's big entrance.
But not
Damn.
before Batman and Robin try to bid
you're right.
on her.
You're right, because it's an auction, so she's, for some reason, put up to auction. And everyone's compelled, so, like, all the millionaires are like, I will bid $3 million on Poison Ivy.
And then Robin's like, $4 million. And then Batman's like, you can't afford that.
You don't have any money.
And he's like, I'll just take your money.
I'll borrow from you.
And Batman pulls out a Bat credit card.
Yep. And it says, what does it say?
Under the name it says Batman.
It just says Batman.
And then next to it says good until or good through. And it just says forever.
I wonder if you can. You know, you can get custom credit cards. Could you get one
You
that
probably could.
You
looks-
probably could.
I
Just
would
take a
do
picture
that.
of it.
I'm going to do it.
Like, the name won't be on it or
You
whatever, but
should.
you probably could. We should do that.
And then
Do you know how funny that would be?
and then Batman says $7 million limit. Never leave the cave without
And I thought
That's
he,
hold on. That's a Visa thing, right? Wasn't Visa's slogan is never leave the house without it?
I think so,
It
yeah.
was either that or MasterCard. One of them,
I think it was MasterCard because
at the time.
the branding on the Bat credit card, it
Very
says Goth
MasterCard-y.
card.
Oh, I love how like he loves like cha-ching, like he like shows it with his hand.
Does it
It's-
make a sound effect too?
It's in his utility belt, probably.
It makes a swooshing sound.
You said last week that this was
This is the
cringier
This is
the laundry
I think
scene.
it's cringier than the laundry scene.
from the last one from
I
Batman
also
Forever.
think it's funnier than the laundry scene as well.
I think this is just a funny little gag. I don't think it's cringy.
It's
and,
so
and it's quick. It's like a 2-second
fucking
gag.
stupid.
No.
no,
It's very stupid.
I think the laundry scene was way cringier.
Way cringier.
You saw the laundry scene?
Yes, Max showed it to
We
me.
saw
He
it on
pulled it up,
YouTube.
and that's trying so hard to be cool. This, I think, knows it's stupid. It's just like, wow, like this is ridiculous.
I think this
so
whole
ridiculous.
movie knows it's stupid.
Yeah,
That's
kind of
why
the
it's not
point.
cringe. But I think that laundry. I'm
I
like, oh.
cringed
No, the
when he
laun-
pulled out that
No,
card.
the laundry
I did
scene, it made me
not.
so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was so great though.
All right, so Freeze shows up, fucking ruins the party, starts
Yeah.
freezing everyone, wants to steal all the diamonds, so they fight. But they weren't expecting to fight over Poison Ivy. She fucked them up, right?
Yeah, she, did her bullshit to them, and now they're fighting each other over her.
Right.
They start yelling at each other.
So it leads to a car chase.
Yes.
Batmobile, the Red Robin. What's
the Red
is
Robin.
The Red Bird?
The Red Rover.
I think
The
it's
Red
Red
Bird
Bird.
is the motorcycle. Robin's motorcycle is a Red Bird. Are you okay?
This hanger has been in me this whole show,
That's what I said, and you made fun of me one
and it
time.
poked my eye hole.
That's what she said.
We're going to make a studio pretty soon, so it's going to happen.
Thank God.
We can get out of this closet.
I know.
Oh, so it leads to one of the more iconic parts of this movie where it's a car chase. They are on like the highways of Gotham City, so like hundreds and hundreds of feet up in the air. And Freeze and his henchmen go off like a ramp and do this big old jump
Yeah.
off a statue. And Robin's like, I'm coming. And Batman's like, you can't make the jump. You have to stay behind. And Robin's like, I can make it. I can make it. And Batman uses his computer on his Batmobile to lock the Red Bird. So the Red Bird just turns off. And
Like
Batman...
he child-proofs it.
Basically, yeah. Batman makes the jump. And Robin has to stay behind. And he jumps off his motorcycle and just...
I was
screams.
gonna say I love
He
his
gets so
iconic
upset.
scream. He just
Yeah.
like yells to the sky with like his fist clenched. But to be fair, he could have made that jump.
You don't know that.
He wanted Robin to survive.
I feel like a motorcycle would be way more likely to make
It
that
is.
than a
Yeah,
big
it's-
clunky
it's
back.
In real
way
life, yes.
Yeah, it's way lighter than that huge Batmobile.
Right, that's why I'm like,
But the Batmobile does have like a afterburner on the back.
Yeah, like
You're
rocket
gonna
Like,
thrusters.
yeah, like rocket thruster.
afterbirth.
What? Oh my God.
Oh my god, gross.
I don't know why that's.
So Batman makes the jump and just captures Mr. Freeze because
Yes.
plot. Like they don't fight.
He made it.
There's not that much fighting in this movie. There's
There's
it's
really
like they
not.
slashed the choreography budget.
Well, we
Because-
had that big hockey scene at the beginning.
Yeah, but even then the fight wasn't good. It was just people skating around in circles. It was very kind of like a ballet, you know.
yeah.
It's very orchestrated, but it wasn't like a fight.
No, there,
you know.
there was no like punching or anything.
Well, there's the fight against Barbara and Poison Ivy, and she's got that cool whip. Whoosh. Do you remember that scene?
Just a whip.
Hell yeah!
It's like a vine whip.
Oh, we're not there yet.
Oh,
That's the end of the movie.
I thought you were talking
thought
about
they had-
fights in general throughout the whole movie.
Oh, well, yeah. No.
But
That's why I jumped in.
Okay.
so they get back to the Batcave, and Batman and Robin are fighting,
Mhm.
right? Because Robin wants more independence. He wants to be a big kid.
And
right?
he wants to fuck Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
Does that fight have anything to do with him being compelled by her? Or does that have something to do with it? Or is it mainly because
yeah,
he's
it definitely
like...
drives a stake between them because he was like, I can make that. And he's like, no, you would have been splattered against the side of a building. I saved you. And he's like, don't forget that I saved you on that rocket ship. So they're having like difficulties with their partnership.
They're having a pissing match.
Yeah, they're having difficulties with their partnership as Batman and Robin. At the very least, this is the one thing that the movie tries to do is carry this over from the last movie where Val Kilmer and Robin are becoming partners and they're learning how to like kind of share that responsibility.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, you know,
They're starting to fall apart a little bit.
yeah. I like the thought. It's not executed very well, but I like the thought, you know?
Yeah.
And then Poison Ivy's kind of driving a stake between them because Robin says to him, you don't like that she liked me and not you.
And then Batman's like, no, like she did something to us. Like,
Right. Because Batman's starting to kind of sober up. He's like, I have a girlfriend. By the way, there's a new girl.
Oh,
Who
true.
he's-
The
It's
model.
a supermodel, right?
yeah.
She's a model.
Yeah.
And they've been dating for 3 years or something like that.
Isn't it Cindy Crawford?
That's not Cindy Crawford.
She looks like her.
I can look
Who
it up
is
really
that?
fast.
And then they're like, oh, you want to get married? And Bruce is like, I don't get married.
She's not important at all. So
No. But yeah, he has another girlfriend. He's had one in each movie.
yeah, hasn't been great. Elle McPherson.
Oh. She's in...
She's a model, yeah.
Yeah.
She's Australian.
Australian.
She was on Friends.
She was on Friends.
Who was she in
That's how I
Friends?
know her.
Who was
She
she in
was
Friends?
Joey's girlfriend, I think.
She would be Joey's
Oh.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
think.
Was she like the model that Joey dated or something?
Honestly, yeah.
Or the
I-
actress?
Yeah, so anyway, when Robin leaves, Alfred shows up and he's dropping truth bombs.
As he does in this series.
Yes, and I love it. It's kind of the saving grace of this is Alfred. And one of the reasons I do like this subplot that Alfred is dying,
Yeah.
because you start to kind of appreciate him, right?
Oh, I started appreciating him like in the second movie.
I've always
Yeah.
appreciated him.
He tells Batman that he evades death by just protecting the people. He kind of gets to push death away from the people that he saves. But he does say, like, no one can stop death at the end of the day. He's also
Coming for everybody.
Yeah, he kind of alludes to that he's sick right to Batman. He just doesn't get it, right?
No, but also Alfred's like not the type of person that would ever say, "Hey, I'm dying, Bruce."
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, later on he says it's like it's not gentleman-y or something. Like,
yeah,
we don't talk about our ailments.
Yeah,
it's-
he's very classy.
Yeah.
he's a very classy man.
But so I do like the parts where Batman is having flashbacks of Alfred raising him as a kid.
Yeah,
Because
Oh,
let's
yeah.
not forget that, like, Alfred is not just a butler.
he was basically his father.
Basically, like his parents, he died. His parents died when he was like 10 or 11. He had Alfred to raise him ever since, and like the toughest parts of his life. So
And
I do
puberty.
like, yeah, I do like all those parts. So meanwhile, Barbara steals the bike because she wants to go do bike racing,
Because she's a badass bitch.
she's a
She's a
badass bitch.
badass bitch.
And Dick Grayson has been following her
because
and
he's a
keeping-
fucking weirdo.
Well, I think she plays on the innocent schoolgirl bit a bit too thick in the beginning. That I think he's like, you're not.
Something's not
Something's
right.
not right. Yeah. So remember, he's also kind of a detective.
Sort of.
Well, then, when she first pops in unannounced, she's like, oh, yeah, I'm coming in for a visit. And then within minutes, she's like, oh, I'm just going to stay. Like, no one questioned that at all.
They invited her to stay.
And she immediately was like, okay.
Bruce invites everybody to stay with him.
He's got a mansion. Like, makes sense.
He's lonely.
Probably. Why'd you say it like that, though?
Yeah.
Because, like, that's
He's a
his,
girlfriend.
like...
So she
He
is trying to bike race to like earn money or whatever. She steals one of the Wayne's bikes.
And then we get like a Fast and Furious
Hell yeah.
/ pod racing.
Yeah, Robin follows her to the underground bike race.
Yeah.
And you see all the fucking gangs from Gotham, including Neon Gang. They're back.
Neon
from
Gang.
the last
Yeah.
movie.
I love Neon Gang, and their lair was really cool.
Oh, yeah, because Poison Ivy steals that
She
later
took
later.
over.
Yeah.
But we see Neon Gang, and we see Coolio.
Who the hell's Coolio?
Coolio!
It was very
He was
90s.
He was a 90s rapper. He was the
Oh!
guy handling all the bets.
Oh, okay.
And he has the braided hair that goes in different directions.
Okay.
Like all over.
He just looked like Coolio.
Oh, and they make the reference to the Clockwork Orange because the Clockwork Orange gang is there.
The Clockwork Orange Gang.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
All the gangs have like different like outfits or whatever, and one of them is straight up the gang from Clockwork Orange.
They have like the hats and
The
the,
hats
little
and the-
eye things.
Yeah, and then the big fucking
Which is creepy because that
underwear
gang,
thing.
like, in Clockwork Orange, they're very bad.
Well, yeah, they're evil.
Yeah, they rape people.
Yeah, they're evil in this too, presumably.
I would presume.
It's just a little nod.
No, it's a cool little nod.
I like it.
It's a very like filmmaker thing to do.
Sure.
It's a classic
are y'all
movie.
talking about? I've never The Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. With the
Is
guy
it
where they
creepy?
like pry his eyes open and make him watch shit to turn him
not
good.
an easy movie to watch. I do not recommend
It's
it.
a disturbing movie.
You're
I've
gonna have
heard.
nightmares.
I probably would hate it.
It's horrible.
It's fucked up.
Does it end good?
I don't remember.
Probably
not.
He's not violent anymore, but it's like the way they did it was really fucked up.
Sounds like something I would not like.
I liked it.
So bike race.
Yeah.
Do you like?
Anyway,
I don't really remember much of the bike race, but I think
it was
This
just
is one of the
good.
main scenes I remember.
to me. It was just as unmemorable as the pod racing scene in episode 1.
The pod racing scene is one of the best scenes in that movie.
I don't like Star Wars, and I actually like that scene.
I think it's too long.
I like
It's
that
one
scene.
of the better scenes in that movie.
Is that why it's so
Because
long?
you know what George is good at? Action. He's really good at action
Yeah.
editing, especially like
I will say
high-speed
the cuts
chases.
in that scene are very
Yes.
good.
High-speed chases or like dogfights, that's what George is best at.
They could have knocked like 5 minutes off of that
I
race, though.
love. You know what? Every time I see the pod racing, it's
Isn't
amazing.
it universally pretty well liked?
Yeah, the pod racing scene itself.
So Birdo's...
Now, whether it
Whoa,
needed to be
the
included
outlier.
in the movie is a different kind of conversation.
Yeah.
But it's a great scene.
Maybe that's my issue with this. Like, in the context of the movie, it's like kind of puts a break on the plot,
Okay.
which is ironic because it's a high octane race.
Wow.
So the Neon Gang, they're pissed off at Barbara for winning so much, so they're gonna fucking murder her.
Yeah.
And they, instead of just like murdering her,
They try to like run her off the track and shit.
So she runs off.
Classic Sebulba.
Oh, he always wins. So yeah, they run her off like a bridge. Luckily, Dick Grayson's there, catches her, and saves the day.
And she's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And he's like, "I followed you."
Yeah, while she's hanging off the side, they were both oddly calm during that.
Yeah, and they
whole
were, like,
interaction.
talking.
Yeah,
because
just
it's-
casually talking. She has no emotion on her face. She's like, "Oh, well, what are you doing here? Oh, okay." And he like helps. I'm like, "You're literally
Yeah.
about to fall to your death."
They should have made it like a 1-story drop, but it was like a 500 feet drop.
yeah. It was.
It was like, I mean, again, that's part of this version of Gotham City. Is like there's highways like skyscraper height.
And so many
you know?
weird ginormous sculpture type
I
buildings.
love them.
No, I think it's
I
cool
like it too. It's
Yeah.
very. It
And-
gives the city character.
Yeah,
I wish cities looked like that.
Yeah, and in the comics, there's that kind of thing going on too. Gotham City sometimes have like big sculptures
That's
and
cool.
random.
It's also one of the
buildings.
shittiest cities to live in, apparently.
Sure, yeah. Oh, so we were talking about last week how Gotham City is probably in New Jersey because of course it is. But I forgot this. In the comics, it is canonically in New Jersey.
Is it actually? Holy shit!
I thought it was in New York.
No,
I think
it's
it's
in New Jersey. It's,
It's
supposed to be.
supposedly based off of New York,
It's kind of like the New York, kind of like next door, like across the
okay.
river. You
like
know?
shitty New York,
Like shitty.
So New
Walmart,
Jersey.
New York.
Yeah.
which is New
There-
Jersey,
there's a
according to
theory-
people from New York.
There's a theory that in the DC universe, Earth is like bigger because
All these non-existent cities,
exactly
are there.
all the same cities exist, but also all
and
these
they're all like
non-existent cities.
metropolitan cities.
Exactly, because there's a metropolis, there's a central city, there's a Gotham City,
Star City.
there's Star City, and then there's still New York and Chicago and LA, and all those are still there. So it's
But
just
these
everything's-
fictional cities still have millions of people in them.
right? So the Earth is just bigger. The DC Earth is just bigger to accommodate for all that, or at least America is.
America's bigger.
So yeah, Gotham City, and this is also in New Jersey because we see it a couple times, and they point to New Jersey.
Okay. Joyzy.
So they start arguing, Barbara and Dick, because he's like, "You're not who you said you are. You're a badass bitch doing pod
badass
racing
shit
on this
Yeah.
motorcycle." And she's like, "I'm trying to raise money to get Uncle Alfred out of here because he doesn't want to be a servant to you people." And he's like, "No, like he's family.
And then
He's
Dick's
exactly
like,
where he wants
Dick's
to be."
like, what? Like, Alfred's like happy here.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But she's
why'd
like,
she assume that?
because she
she's-
knows that he's dying.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But clearly she doesn't know her uncle very well because he does love being there.
Of course he loves
Yeah.
being there. Exactly.
But it's a very noble thing for her to be trying
Yeah.
to do.
That is.
Usually I don't like in movies or in TV when two characters are having a conversation and then a third character walks in at the most opportune time and then finishes someone's sentences.
You hate that so
I hate it because that
much.
means that They were just lurking around the corner, listening,
Waiting.
waiting
Hold on.
for the moment.
So you're telling me you've never done that in real life? To
I
make
have.
a statement?
I've done it.
I'm going to start doing it.
Okay.
I'm going to just sit.
I've never done it, but
Okay.
I've
You guys are going to be talking and be like, and Birdo is, I'm going to walk in and be like, a fool.
You're going to self-deprecate?
insult your own self and keep walking, but try to be cool in the process. Do it.
I'm going to work that in. It's going to happen. Anyway, they sort of doing this, but it's okay because, so Barbara and Dick are talking, and they walk into a room, and Barbara leaves, and Bruce was already in that room. So it's not like Bruce was lurking. He just already happened to be in that room.
And he just didn't stand up or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he just finished the sentence. He goes, Alfred's not sick. He's dying. Because Bruce, being the world's greatest detective, already figured this out.
Yeah. No, that was done well. Because, like you said, it would be weird if Bruce, like, walked into the room and said it.
They walked into the room where he already was just hanging out.
It's like he pops around the corner. By the way.
Yeah. He's fucking dying. Okay, so Mr. Freeze, real quick. His name is Victor. Dr. Victor Freeze. His last name happens to be Freeze. Yeah, a comic book coincidence.
I love that.
But it's spelled Fries, like fries. Because he's not American. He's like Swiss or something.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sure.
Do you want to know a fun fact?
About
Oh,
Victor Freeze?
You know a fun fact
I know
about
a fun
Victor
fact.
Freeze?
So watching the movie, I was looking at his makeup and I was like, it's so textured. Like, what the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it up and they painted his face with like a metallic-y paint and they splattered on white and blue acrylic paint on top of it to give it the texture.
Yeah.
You knew that?
I did because he didn't want to shave his head, Schwarzenegger. So he had a
They
bald
put
cap.
a bald cap.
So by putting that texture on, it raises his normal skin level a little bit, and you don't notice the bald cap as much.
Yeah.
Because he actually looks.
It
bald
ended
in
up
this.
looking good.
It
Oh, his
looks great, yeah.
Makeup. There are some really good production values here, especially for the time. Again, this is a big budget movie.
Yeah.
And so I like his costume.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you guys.
No, his costume's
never
cool.
talked about
his
his.
characterization is shit, but his costume's cool.
Yeah, for sure. The costume looks really, really good. Freeze escapes. I don't know how. I don't remember. How did he escape? Poison Ivy shows up at Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, because they're like in cahoots now.
Yeah, she shows up and she's like, whatever, we're going to be buddies now because we both want Batman. She helps him escape from Arkham Asylum. Again, well, we were talking last week, not the same Arkham Asylum as we saw at the end of Batman Forever. Because that was clearly a Burton set that they kept, like a miniature or something that they kept. Whereas this one, like everything else in this movie, is on a giant cliff, like 500 feet, drops everywhere, you know.
Because everything has to be like a drop now. Like somebody has to get thrown off of something or.
Yeah.
I hate that. In general, I don't like that. It's just like stressful for no reason. Like, why?
You mean like heights?
Yeah, well, I'm also very afraid of heights.
I'm
so maybe
super
that's
afraid of
why.
heights, yeah.
It just makes me uncomfortable for like, and not in a good way where I'm on the edge of my seat, like, oh, what's gonna happen? It makes me uncomfortable. Like, I can't wait for the scene to be over. Can they figure it out, please?
Well, this movie's so fake that like it's not
Well, no.
triggering my fear of heights. But
Right. This movie
there are
was,
other movies that do that.
Yeah,
Like
this
what?
movie was fine, but
Gravity?
there are other movies that.
That's not really heights, though.
That's
That's
space.
the loneliness of space.
Oh, no,
Okay.
that's different.
Oh, so they escape and they get back to Mr. Freeze's lair. Also, why is he not Dr. Freeze? He's a doctor in real life.
Yeah,
Oh.
why doesn't he go
Why
by
are you
Dr.
selling
Freeze?
yourself short? Dr. Freeze.
Are you sure it's not Dr. Freeze?
1,000%. It's Mr. Freeze. That's his name.
Maybe
That's his,
because I got nothing on that act.
But anyway, they go back to his lair, but the cops are all there and Batman and Robin are there. Poison Ivy sees Nora Freeze in her tank.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't like competition.
And so she kicks the little power cord or something off and presumably thinks that Nora's going to die. Meanwhile, Mr. Freeze freezes the whole place and all the cops are like, bleh.
I remember you said earlier that Poison Ivy had no character development. I think she has a huge character arc in this whole movie.
Why? She's
Okay.
just kind of a jealous bitch.
Go on.
Was she like that in scene one?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
In scene one, no, she was
She was
just...
humble, chill, just wanted to save all the plants, and then she's killing.
They just,
Yeah,
they write it off as just her being like,
jealous.
I have a crush on Mr. Freeze now and I don't want competition.
Oh, that's a little extreme.
They didn't go too deep
Exactly.
with it, though.
I thought about it a lot.
Clearly.
Well, you came up pretty short then, didn't you?
What do you mean
I thought you would have more to argue.
about this point I'm making
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole thing.
Okay, moving on. Did you like the snowflake necklace she was wearing?
It's
That Nora Freeze was wearing?
Don't read my notes.
Clearly you liked it.
Listen. I thought I had a lot more to contribute.
You're
doing fine.
I
you're
wrote
doing
down
fine.
snowflake necklace.
Don't
Because I
see-
love,
So you like it.
I love her snowflake necklace.
Didn't you tell us you wanted it?
Yes.
You
Okay,
said you
cool.
wanted it as a kid too,
I
right?
have one.
What?
Currently. It's in my jewelry drawer.
Does it look exactly like the one in the movie?
No, that one's prettier.
I mean, it's a prop, so in a big movie.
Yeah, it was made to look prettier
Yeah.
than
But
something you'd buy
I
in the
know, but when I was little, I was like, God, if only I could have that necklace.
If only.
If only.
Solve all your problems.
Yeah.
Wow.
I loved it. So that's why I
Okay.
wrote that down.
That's a cute story.
I know.
Why didn't you want to share it?
I didn't know where to insert it.
So, earlier in the movie, Poison Ivy steals her lair from the Neon Gang,
Yeah.
using Bane for help. And then Mr. Freeze is now moving his lair over. But she gets back and she's like, what the fuck? Half of my lair is frozen over.
Did
I
that
don't know
not
if that's
ups-
anything.
Did that kill someone for plants? Because I feel like
It
that'd be-
had to have.
It was just like this adjacent room, and he's like, oh, this is my room now.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have to stay cold though? Like, isn't that his
Well,
thing?
yeah, but who's
So it's not too much. Like, I feel like, clearly he would
who's
have
the
to freeze
renovation
room.
crew here?
Oh,
like,
I don't know.
what? How did that happen?
No, he probably walked in and just went.
like the fucking yeah, exactly. The fucking layers that
Well,
these people come up with.
Hold on. We brushed right past this, but the whole scene where Poison Ivy creates her lair is probably my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Really?
Yes, really. First of all, I
explain
love
it?
the Neon Gang. I want to talk about them more.
They played a bigger role in the last movie.
Yeah.
I would probably like that movie.
I told you 1,000 times to watch that movie.
Okay. But anyway, the Neon Gang, their whole look is really cool, and it's very. They scared me as a kid. I was actually like scared of them, and I love how the Neon Gang's like layer, like those colors, kind of tie into Poison Ivy's colors. Like I wrote, like her layer is so freaking cool. Like I wish, like when I was little, like that's what my room looked like. All the purples and neons and pinks and stuff. Like it's so pretty.
It's all plants.
I know,
Oh, okay.
but it's so cool.
Yeah, she does a bit where she's like, we need to renovate. Bane, like, breaks holes in the ground and she plants plants and
Yeah.
they grow and,
And
then
then
it turns
that's
into
about
a
it.
layer.
But it progressively gets better and better because the first scene when they do that, it's like, it still looks kind of trashy. Then the next time they come back, she's got this whole lotus flower bed that opens up and a little
Yeah,
river
like her
in the middle.
little base like evolves
It
as the
evolves,
movie goes on. Yeah.
And I really love it.
It grows.
And
if
I
you
want to
will.
have a little garden like that.
I'm glad you found something in this movie you can latch on.
Yeah, you're like really passionate about it.
Okay, because like I said in our previous podcast, like the artsy stuff like that, I really grabbed onto that. And even as a kid, those are the scenes that are like burned in my brain. Like that's all I remember loving about this movie as a kid. Like I liked the action too, but like I just loved Poison Ivy and her whole vibe, her whole deal.
Okay. So Bruce Wayne figures everything out because he's the world's greatest detective.
Moving on.
Yeah. And he figures out that Poison Ivy is Pamela Isley, a scientist, because also he met her like the day before, so
Yeah.
Right.
obviously. And he figures out the whole poison bit and the kissing bit, and he's like, why is she so eager to kiss us? And Robin's like, because I'm cute or something.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, I'm willing to bet that her lips are poison. Are you? Like, that's pretty spot on. But
I mean, he's right.
no, he's right. Totally. The best part of this movie is when Clooney quotes the last movie. Because then he's like, there was a time when you told me that partners are family and blah, blah, blah. And this, I'm like, he's just saying the thing from the last movie. They couldn't think of a new thing. They just carried over the thing from the last movie.
Well, he's kind of throwing Robin's shit back at him.
Yeah. But again, I feel like that would have worked better if this movie had kind of picked up where the last one left off. And instead, it's just, like I said earlier, I like that they're trying to do something with Batman and Robin and their relationship. But the last one did a lot more.
Yeah.
And in this one, they're literally just quoting that and being like, hey, you remember our greatest hits? Let's do that some more. So he kind of convinces Robin to just be a partner and listen to me for a second because I'm right about Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy, meanwhile, steals the bat signal, turns it into a Robin signal because she's trying to play them against each other.
Yeah, and Robin's like, that's my signal.
Yeah. So
As
I'm
if
gonna
that's
go.
something that's always been a thing. He's like, well, I gotta go. Like, did he even know she was doing that?
Yeah, who the fuck is calling him?
Poison Ivy, she told him in the last scene I see like a Robin signal in the sky or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
But you don't think it's a little weird that all of a sudden a Robin signal popped up? That's a trap.
Yeah, but he's compelled by the
That's
pheromones
right. He's
or
a
whatever.
fucking horny idiot.
So does Batman just not get as compelled as he does? Because he's like a
He's
little
smarter.
He realized that something was wrong.
Exactly.
He's like,
Yeah.
he's like, wait a minute, that's not me.
I think it helps that he's also like in a relationship.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That he can be like, wait a second, this isn't me. So Robin goes to the signal. It's in Ivy's lair. And he's like, I want to be with you, but I need you to prove that, he says, are going to turn over a new leaf.
Oh, love that.
The puns.
There's so many puns. And she's like, kiss me. And they kiss. And you think, oh my God, Robin's going to die. But he's like, rubber lips are no match to your charms. And he like peels off like a little piece of
Like a layer of glue.
Yeah.
Dried glue.
off of his lips. And I'm sitting here like thinking, is this like a metaphor for safe sex and condoms?
Maybe.
Because that's what I kind of took away here.
He's like,
Because she's trying to poison him with a kiss, a very sensual, sexual thing. And he's like, I didn't get that poison because I had this thin layer of rubber
I had protection
over my lips.
I never even thought of that.
It's the only thing I can think of when I see that scene. And again, Joel Schumacher, gay man in the 90s, AIDS pandemic was still really big back then, especially in the gay community. I feel like he puts in a lot of his experiences in this movie, sometimes kind of in your face and sometimes a little bit more subvertive. And that's kind of what I got out of that scene is like a safe sex condom thing. I don't know about you guys.
use protection. Otherwise, you'll
sure.
get poisoned
Yeah.
and die.
Wrap it up, kids, before you stick
AIDS will
it.
kill you. What are you? What?
Wrap your dick. I wasn't telling you guys to like wrap this segment up. I was like, no, wrap.
No.
Wrap,
You got the joke? Okay, good.
wrap your dick.
You've never heard that?
That's not a thing.
Everyone says it.
Wrap your
dick.
willy.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Okay, anyway.
Who said Willie? Was that you? Ew.
Don't be silly.
Ew.
Wrap your willy.
Ew. I hate that so much.
So I find it weird that he, I guess, listened to Bruce and was like, is Ivy actually in love with me or was Bruce right?
Before, like, in the middle of the movie, he does get compelled, and then he, like, realizes he was, and then later on he gets compelled again, and then he's, like, all sucked in. Do you
Because
remember that?
they do another,
Oh, another poof.
yeah. I mean, we skipped it, but
And
in the
then he
ice cream
mouth
factory,
breathes.
Penny mouth.
they have a whole another
And
fight
he's
in
like,
the
yeah,
ice cream
because remember
factory.
he like pushed him in the goop.
Oh, yeah.
The ice
in
cream.
In the ice cream.
When I was little, I thought that was just generic goop.
There were so many things to tell you that was
I
an
know.
ice cream factory.
I had no idea that was an ice cream factory.
Again, it's for the kids.
Yeah.
But
But,
I didn't get it as a kid, so
You're a foolish child.
Cool. So she pushes him into like the water, and that's like bad for whatever reason. He's like 3 feet of water, and he's
And then, do you remember that scene? They like played it again backwards.
yes.
Oh,
If you watch, he falls in the water, and then they played it backwards because I guess he didn't do enough like gasping for air. But it's very obvious.
No,
that they just played
because
it
like he like
backwards.
surfaces and then he goes back down.
Yeah. It's not like, okay, so in Star Wars they did this back in the 70s with the Tusken Raider. He goes, "Mrr, arr, 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 arr," and he raises the thing. And it feels more real than in this one where they just hit pause, reverse, play. Yeah. Anyway, Batman shows up, and then that's when she's like, what does she say?
oh yeah. She goes, my vines have a crush on you, and then she like lifts her. Oh, I'm doing the whole scene right now. She like lifts her hands in the air, and her vines. This is where she takes control of the vines, and they like wrap around him, and they like flip him upside down.
Yeah, they
then-
get Batman pretty quick.
And then
Yeah.
Batman's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just stood there and let it happen.
Yeah, and then he pulls out a little power saw, because obviously he has a little
he
mini
has
power
a
saw.
toolbox.
His belt is a toolbox.
But really, we skipped this part, but Barbara was hacking into Alfred's computer.
Oh yeah.
And what
Yeah.
she really does is hack into the Batcave.
Yeah.
And so she sees all of Batman's secrets,
Because, you know, we can't have a movie without a woman discovering all of Batman's secrets.
every single movie.
What do you mean? Is that like a
In every movie,
A woman
all the
comes
love
into the Batcave.
all the love interests figure out that he's Batman. In this one, the love interest doesn't, the supermodel, but Barbara Gordon, or Barbara
Yeah.
Pennyworth, or
Does
whatever
Barbara and Dick, do they have a thing?
Sometimes.
It's like they tried to sprinkle it in there,
Yeah.
but it didn't really like.
It seemed like Dick was interested in her and she was like, yeah, what the fuck ever, dude.
Yeah.
Sometimes she's got a thing with... I think it is Dick. I think they
there
do
was
have a
that
thing
thing
in the
in the Killing Joke movie that pissed everybody off where
Because
she had a thing with
She had a
Batman.
thing with Batman,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah, and they have sex in that movie.
That pissed a lot of
She
people
seems
off.
a little young.
No, that's why. That's
Oh,
why a lot of people got
okay.
pissed
Well,
off.
so in the comics, Batman's usually like in his 30s. So she would have been in her 20s. So it's not crazy that they wouldn't have a thing.
but,
But
like, she was always more of like a
I think people think of
kid
Batman
to
in
him.
his 40s and 50s for whatever reason.
because he's all grizzled and miserable.
Yeah, but in the comics, he's
Yeah.
usually in his 30s. Anyway, not important. So she sneaks into the Batcave. The Bat computer has like a programmed Alfred in it. Is like,
And he's like talking to her, but he's kind of glitchy.
right.
Yeah.
And he's like, I programmed my brain into this computer. And
He's like, into this computer.
yeah. And she goes, suit me up, Uncle Alfred. And so that's how she gets the Batgirl suit.
And he's like, I have some virtual training programs for you.
Did she take some training? Because I was wondering, how does she know how to do all this Batman stuff?
Alfred mentioned like virtual training
She
programs.
did it in like 5 minutes because
Apparently.
the next scene, again, she saves the day in Ivy's lair. She jumps in from
Well,
the
we
top.
see her suit up first.
Oh, we do see her suit up. Yeah.
Chicks like you give women a bad
No, we're not
name.
there yet.
I
Okay.
hated that whole... See, that whole scene with them is so cringe.
Okay, we're not there yet.
Ah,
So,
where are we?
Hold on.
The
just
suit
stop.
up.
Suit up.
The butt, the
But
crotch,
she-
the nips.
Oh,
Okay.
she gets her whole
She
scene.
gets her own suit up,
That's right.
and then she crashes down, real Batman style, always breaking in through the roof.
And there's always like a skylight.
Yeah,
So
everywhere has a
disruptive.
skylight. And she saves the day. She fights Ivy. But, yeah, let's talk about her suit real quick. Opinions?
You said she had full-on nip in the suit, and I didn't get that at all. It just looked like the chest part. Is there another character called Batwoman?
Yes,
Yes. They're different.
they're different.
Oh.
Look at those nips.
Oh, wait, she 100%
They're
does.
Yes.
poking through.
They are poking through bad. Look at this picture.
Wait. Oh my god, she actually does. Why did I not notice that?
This is all super inappropriate for kids, I think.
What's
I didn't
this?
notice this as a kid.
I absolutely noticed it as a kid, and I loved it.
Hey, you little pervy.
Yeah, I had a big crush on Alicia Silverstone. So I like her suit a lot. Again, in the context of this universe, I really like her
Oh,
suit.
I do too. I
think
could
it's
do without
bad-
the silver.
No. Her first suit.
Oh, her.
she wears
because
two suits.
How does she already have two suits?
Because they all have an outfit change. Her first suit is this one.
Okay.
And I think
no,
this
this
is
one's good.
That one's cool.
probably the best suit
The
out of
black
all
suit.
of them. It doesn't feel like rubber. It looks like leather.
Yeah.
It looks tailored well.
Yeah.
I like it better than Batman and Robin's suit, if I'm honest,
Oh wow, really?
in this movie. But yeah, it does kind of, it's very booby.
It is very, but honestly, in pictures you can really tell. In the movie, I didn't notice it.
I think I was looking for it because I knew this was going to come up. But
I was looking for it.
It does feel a little over sexualized.
Yeah.
And she
I mean,
has like
so are
these.
the men's costumes.
Right.
Yeah, in all fairness, if anything, the men were much more sexualized in this movie than the women are.
Honest, I agree
Yeah.
with that. Yeah.
Like Batman and Robin,
Because her suit up scene is exactly the same as Batman
Yeah.
and Robin's.
Yeah.
You get the ass shot.
ass shot,
You get the crotch shot.
crotch shot,
You get the nips.
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 So I don't know, but I do like her suit a lot. I like her introduction. This scene is not that bad. They have a whole kind of like feminist fight, right?
Yeah.
She's like, you give. Well, you do.
Oh yeah, do it.
Do it.
She's like, chicks like you give women a bad name. I don't know if she said women or she said it was something like that.
It was something feminist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because she's the feminist, and Poison Ivy is more of like the femme fatale, who's like this. Not a feminist, but she uses her femininity to manipulate men
Right.
and control them and kill them and
Yeah, it's fucked.
and be bad. Yeah, exactly.
Damn, as a kid, she was my favorite.
But Batgirl's like, don't do that.
Yeah. I was just like, yeah, Poison Ivy's outfit's cooler, so.
So they have a girl fight. I don't mind the fight. The only thing I don't like about it, like I like that they paired them up.
It's
That was
probably one of
thing
the
to
only
do.
like real fights in the movie too.
Okay, I take back what I said. The fight itself was fine. It was just all the talking on Batgirl's side was what I was just like, okay, she needs to calm down.
I could have done with a couple less hi-yas.
Who did that?
Batgirl. Every time she does it,
she did,
She goes
yeah.
hi-ya. Hi-ya.
Can we get a clip of that? A
No.
little sound bite?
Hi-ya. Yeah. So they fight, and then Batgirl just kind of kicks Poison Ivy back into the chair that she was already sitting in.
Yeah.
But this time, which is a plant, but this time the plant eats her.
Yeah, the plant rejects her.
Yeah, and then she's
why?
like, no.
Is there any explanation in movie why that would
There
happen?
is not.
Again,
It just happens.
When Robin shows up to this scene, Poison Ivy is already sitting in her throne, which is like this big flower. And then she gets up, she fights Batman, she fights Batgirl. Batgirl pushes her back in her throne, but this time the flower decides to close up and eat her.
Maybe it startled the flower. I don't know. I mean, why else would it like?
Maybe it's like a
turn
Venus
on
flytrap thing where like the sudden pressure made it go.
But she didn't die. She's in the
she's-
rest of the movie.
No, she survives, but that's it for her in the third act.
Yeah, she doesn't do anything
Like that
else.
paralyzed her? I don't know. I mean, it
It was
doesn't make
kind of
any
lame.
sense.
It was.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, I guess that I never thought of that. Like,
So meanwhile, they learn of Mr. Freeze's ultimate plan, which is to use the satellites that we saw earlier in this movie to freeze Gotham, to hold it ransom. Oh, so the Batman and Robin are like, oh, I guess, Barbara's Batgirl now.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit. They're like, fine.
Which, hey, we have the Bat family together.
Yeah, no, sure. But
For like the only time in live
Ever,
action.
yeah. But they're like, at one point, Batman's like, we don't have time to argue. Like, we gotta go. But they have plenty of time to do an outfit change. Because they get into their new costumes.
Well, these are bad.
Which are the ice costumes. It's, I guess, for cold temps.
Just in case?
Yikes.
Just in case. And it's basically their same costumes that they're wearing, but with a ton of silver.
Like
instead
silver
of colors.
trim and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like
And
that.
it's... yeah.
Again, if you, in the episode description, all of the Batsuits are included. Every single one. And we've included this one. Look at it. It's just a bunch of silver pieces.
This is probably
on top.
the worst Batsuit in the series.
Absolutely.
It's
It's-
not cute.
Well, you know what they did? They took the sonar suit from the last movie and they decided the silver trim. And that's not me guessing. George Clooney said it. He said, all they did was take Val Kilmer's suit and they put some silver shit on top of it. That's what he said.
Like he actually said silver shit.
He didn't say silver shit.
Oh.
It
Like,
seems
he-
like something he'd say.
It's like that'd be kind of
Yeah.
really funny. if
He's
you-
very jaded against this movie. He hates it.
Love that.
He hates that he did it.
He was one of the shining parts of the movie for me.
You think so?
I thought so, yeah.
We'll get
I
to
thought he played a really good... Oh, we'll get to it later.
So not only are they in their new suits, they're in new vehicles because this is all to sell toys, right?
Oh yeah.
So Batman is in like some big ski mobile. Robin is in an airboat, and Batgirl is in a motorcycle. Again, a different motorcycle. But
she is.
yeah, she is.
Is it made specifically for her?
Yes, but for some reason it can go on ice because they're all on ice. Again,
Yeah.
these are all vehicles that are ice vehicles for just such an occasion.
Never heard of an ice motorcycle.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know why.
It seems kind of unsafe.
Yeah.
Seems like that would never work.
I get the ski mobile and I get the
Airboat.
airboat. Those make sense. The motorcycle not so much, so she gets knocked off it pretty quick.
She should have just gotten on like a Zamboni.
I like a 1 mile an hour. So there's a very brief scene, and all these vehicles are going really slow. By the way,
Yeah.
Well, going
They would've
fast on
been-
ice is dangerous.
They should have just
guess.
popped on their ice skates again.
Yeah.
yeah,
Why didn't they?
that would have been a nice
Tap your
opportunity to
heels
bring that
together.
back.
Yeah.
Click your heels.
And it would make sense that
Yeah.
their ice costumes have ice skates on them, not the regular
Yeah,
costumes.
that should have been the debut of the ice
I
skates.
agree. That's a good
Wow.
edit.
I know.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Genius.
There we
Yeah.
go.
So they reach Mr. Freeze's telescope. Well, it's the telescope. It's Bruce Wayne's telescope. But again, he hijacked it. He took hostage those two scientists. That one that goes, "Who is this nutball?"
Oh, can we just all agree right now that's the best line in this entire movie?
It kind of is.
Who is this
Who's
nutball?
this nutball?
That's by far the best one.
When Arnaldo and I watched this movie 2 years ago, we could not stop laughing at that line, and we would say it regularly for like...
A while.
We'd say it all the
Yeah,
time.
we made it our thing.
Yeah, nutball.
I remember, because I think I had Oliver, my cat, at the time, and when he would act a fool, I'd be like, who's this nutball? And Oliver would just stare at me like he hated me.
And then, like, the scientist says that, and Mr. Freeze just looks up and freezes.
Just freezes. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I love it.
And then it's
Bane.
established, like, way earlier in the movie. It's like, oh, you have, what is it, like 11 minutes to unfreeze him?
Or else you'll
Oh,
die.
a certain amount, yeah. The
So-
unfreezing in this movie looks like they're just dumping water on top of the ice. It's so melty so quick. Did you notice that?
That's part of what they're doing.
I mean, that's probably what they're doing, but it just looked so
Because, like, they
quick.
hold up, like, this little thing, and it's like,
It's just like the water and
Like
ice just like
heated, yeah.
waterfalls down it. I'm like, oh, that's... And I remember as a kid, I thought it looked weird. I was very perceptive.
So Batman, Batgirl, and Robin get there. Oh, sorry. Batgirl was wearing a cowl, which is true to her costume, but it looks fucking stupid
A
on her.
what?
A cowl with the ears.
Yeah.
Like the headpiece.
Oh, yeah.
But it looks really fucking stupid, so she rips it off.
Yeah, she's literally just like, fuck this.
She wears it for less time than Thor wears his helmet in the first Thor movie.
I wonder if that was like Alicia Silverstone being like, fuck this.
I think they probably made it for her because like they look at the the comic and she has a calendar,
Right?
But she also has her long
clearly
hair.
she had to wear it for marketing at least once.
And then they're like, this looks dumb, just rip it off because she looks much better with just a domino mask.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, fuck this, rips it off, and then continues on the mission.
They kept all that in the movie.
They kept it in the movie.
Like, that was a whole... I remember it.
You sell two toys that way.
Yeah, one with, one without.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
That's actually true.
Interchangeable heads.
That's crazy.
So they make it up there. Batman and Mr. Freeze have a fight. Robin and Batgirl fall off. They get pushed off. So they fall. They do a whole batarang, save the day. But then they fight Bane for a little bit.
Yeah, he
does
kind of does something.
He does a thing. Look at him
There's too many villains in this movie.
There's 2.5.
There's literally Poison Ivy, Freeze, Bane, that whole Neon Gang.
The Neon Gang didn't do anything in this movie.
Yeah, but they're still there.
So it's 2.5.
It's 2.5 because Bane's not really.
And all they do is they just knock the cable off of Bane's head.
Yeah, it's like, oh, and then he falls down. He turns into a little bitch boy again.
Yeah, he shrinks into the little kid again.
And that's the end of Bane.
That's it. Poor Bane. So Batman redoes the telescope to get the sunlight from around the world or whatever.
Yeah.
So he turns into like this fucking heat ray, and he's melting Gotham back because Mr. Freeze had just frozen all of Gotham.
Yeah. And
so then Mr. Freeze also and Bane had installed bombs. So they fucking blow the whole place up. Telescope goes falling down. Batman falls down with it with the two scientists. Batman saves the scientist, comes back up. And now they're like, well, shit, we don't have a telescope anymore to use as a heat ray. Now what are we going to do?
Yeah. It's like, we need a computer genius to work on this. And Robin goes, I'm on it. Runs up to the computer and is like, I can't do this upside down.
And so Batgirl's like, actually, I'm on it. And she fixes it. She fixes the computer. And then she suggests we have the satellites do it directly. They're going to shine the light from the sun, because it's nighttime, down, and the satellites can melt all of Gotham City. The only thing I like about this, because it's obviously completely ridiculous,
right,
is that Batgirl is the more computer literate girl out of the two of them.
Oh, because she was hacking earlier.
In the comic book, well, that hacking was not. But in the comics, she's like the hacker. She's like very computer literate. She's
the guy in the chair.
She's the guy in the chair because after she has her accident, I don't know if you know this, Batgirl gets shot in the belly by Joker. It paralyzes her.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it paralyzes her and she can't be Batgirl anymore.
She becomes Oracle.
She becomes Oracle, who is a guy in a chair. So she is the person.
Like she's in their ear, like giving them information.
She gets all the information, all the blueprints. She's just really good with computers. So they did work that in a little bit because at the end she says, "I'm the one that's good with computers, not you, Dick Grayson. Shut the fuck up."
I was gonna say, like, they wrote him as such like a bozo in certain areas, and I almost blurted out like, "Oh, like he's like the comic relief of this movie," but then I was like, "This whole movie's a comic relief."
Pretty much, yeah.
I love that. It's like, we need a computer genius. It's like, I'm on it.
Like, why?
It's like, bro, you can't even do laundry the right way.
And out of all the Robins, he's not like he's a good detective, but he's not good with computers.
He's like the classic hot guy that's not smart.
The next Robin, Tim Drake, he's the really, really smart one.
Oh. I don't know who that is. I only knew Chris.
Chris O'Donnell.
Dick Grayson's more of the good fighter, acrobatic one. That's what
he
he's
was
known
in the
for.
circus.
Yeah,
because of the circus.
That's a cool backstory. I like that a lot.
You should watch Batman Forever.
Seriously, you would like that one.
Okay, I'm going to.
Well,
You should read some comic books too, based on Batman.
Yeah, you guys are Batman. Well,
you're way more into Batman than I am.
Yeah, I love Batman. So they thaw the whole city out. Basically, Batman's like, Mr. Freeze, you suck. Like, you didn't win. And Mr. Freeze is like, well, you killed my wife because that's what Poison Ivy said. And Batman shows him the footage of Poison Ivy admitting that she killed Nora Freeze, even though
competition.
Even though that footage is the exact same footage from the movie, meaning
it's literally like the scene.
It's literally the same scene.
It's the scene.
Meaning Batman had a camera exactly where the film camera would have been.
This whole movie is just Batman recording.
Exactly. Like, what? How did he get that foot? Also, he was tied up in vines at the time, which is why. How did he get that footage?
Maybe he's got a little bat drone. That was...
What if she's like I told Lady Freeze, this is a one-woman show, and then he had that exact scene zoomed in on her face, perfect lighting,
Well, it's the same exact footage from
right,
the movie.
Right. I know, but it's funny that's the quality he got on his phone.
And then Mr. Freeze is like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of turned around.
And then Batman's like, your wife's fine.
She's fine. But if you want, you can maybe help because my buddy Alfred has the same disease and you cured it. So can you give me the cure? And for whatever reason, he's got the cure right in his wrist. He pops it open.
He's like, here you go.
Pops out a little vial that's ready to go.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, guess I'll go to jail now.
In return, Batman does say hey, we're going to move your research lab to jail, basically.
But you can work on your research.
Yeah.
Batman's actually a very understanding guy here.
It's a nice trade-off, I think. You save Alfred's life. So they plug that medicine into Alfred's IV, and Alfred's fine the next morning.
I love how they trusted it immediately and didn't think, oh, maybe this little vial he's giving us is poison. They just immediately oh,
he had no
Alfred.
reason to do that.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
And they found out earlier that he cured that same disease that Alfred had.
But his wife was still frozen.
Well, he was in stage 1 and the wife was in a more advanced stage. So it was like cancer.
Oh, okay.
Where Alfred just had stage 1 of the disease.
That's
pretty much the movie.
And then we see the Bat family suit up and run.
And do their running bit, yeah.
I liked that scene.
I actually did, too.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the movie.
I did, yeah.
So, again, now we can move on to analysis, but we kind of just sprinkled that in as we went. So we talked Batsuits. If you skipped here, because time codes.
Just listen to the whole podcast. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Damn!
So.
Leave that in.
All right, so overall thoughts? What do you think about Batman and Robin?
Okay, I have a lot to say. Your first note here is this movie is nothing. I don't agree.
Don't look at my notes, because then my notes are for me.
My thoughts overall. It's a fun movie. Don't think too hard about it. Poison Ivy steals the show.
Disagree.
I thought we would all be in agreement on that. She's in a lot of this. She gets so much screen time. She's just so captivating and dramatic and great, and it's just so fun. I think George Clooney is a really good Batman. I think he looks and sounds the part. He acts part. I feel like he would even be a good Batman today. I think he was really good.
Okay.
I didn't like Val Kilmer. No, sorry.
You didn't see that movie.
I saw enough scenes. I saw enough. I did.
I'm with her on the Val Kilmer, though. I just don't buy him as Batman. But
we
already talked about that.
And I Michael Keaton was good, too, but I think George Clooney...
You didn't watch those movies either.
Maybe I saw enough of the scenes to get a gist of how they are as Batman.
No, you need to watch the whole movie.
To be fair, there's not a lot of Michael Keaton.
Yeah, actually. There's really not.
Yeah, isn't he hardly...
He's hardly in those movies.
His movies are all about his villains.
Yeah. Oh. He's comically not that involved in those movies.
Whoa.
He'll be sitting in the Batcave with glasses on and he'll be like, I think something's going on, Alfred.
in Batman Returns, Bruce Wayne isn't seen until 36 minutes into the movie.
Are you serious?
Batman has one scene earlier, he says a couple lines, and then that's it. 36 minutes in, we finally see Bruce Wayne, he starts talking.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
It's weird how they did that.
Yeah.
That is really weird.
I still think Batman Returns is my favorite one out of these.
Okay, so I think this movie is really, really bad.
Damn.
Like we said, Batman was pretty good. Batman Returns went kind of off the rails there in terms of Burton-esque. It's a little artsy. It's too weird. It's too adult. It's too sexual.
It's the Penguin.
The Penguin.
It's the black sheep of the franchise.
And so it got in a lot of trouble with McDonald's and toy manufacturers. And so they fire Tim Burton. They hired Joel Schumacher, who's not that great of a replacement because Joel Schumacher wasn't making kids movies either. He was also making kind of dark adult movies.
Oh.
But it was Tim Burton's idea to get Schumacher in because I guess he's like, oh, I like his stuff. Obviously,
of course, he does.
So they just went with the guy that's a little different, but also kind of the same.
Yeah.
So I feel like Schumacher also had a lot more studio interference in his movies.
Yes. So the studio obviously gets much more involved now, which they weren't before because they didn't realize what a moneymaker Batman would be. It seems obvious now, but back then it wasn't, right? And so you get the impression during Batman Forever, they gave him some direction. They're like, okay, well, we got to do wacky villains. But in Batman Forever, he still snuck in a lot of good stuff, like we were saying. A lot of psychoanalysis of Batman.
Yeah.
There's this whole... Batman has a whole arc in that movie, unlike the first two. In this one, you get the impression that they're like, all right, cut that shit out. We want more kid stuff. Don't do any serious Batman stuff. Don't do anything good. Just do kid stuff, wacky villains, action scenes, a lot of costume changes, a lot of vehicle changes. We need to sell a lot of toys. You can tell how, like, involved the studio was here.
Oh, their fingerprints are all over this movie.
Yeah. And I feel like Schumacher's still kind of trying a little bit, but not really. So apparently, some actor said, before each take, Schumacher would yell, "Remember, this is a cartoon." Action.
Wait, are you serious?
That was kind of the direction he gave everybody, like, light, funny, loud.
To be like, oh, wow. Okay, I totally
can
get
picture
that.
him saying it, like, really flatly like that, too. Like, he's just given up on trying to have any control over this movie.
Again, Batman Forever. You can tell he tried to make a movie there. Yeah. He tried his best. And in this one, he's just like, fuck it. This is what they want. This is what they're going to get. They want Adam West meets high production value. That's what we're going to do. And that's what you get. Like we said, Arnold Schwarzenegger should not be having a good time. Like, he's a tragic character, right? Like, why is he having fun?
Oh, I forgot to mention something really important. Well, it's not, but he had, like, polar bear pajamas and polar bear slippers in the, like, one of the first scenes we see him in. And I wrote down, I need those slippers.
That's when he's watching the cartoons and stuff. Yeah.
And his polar bear pants are actually really cute. And I remember just thinking, like...
This is really important.
That's why I took that back immediately and was like, well, it's not that important.
Okay, well.
But it's a point I meant to make earlier.
Okay, polar bear pants. Okay. I'll get you those polar bear pants. Your birthday's coming up.
For those of you that don't know, polar bears are like one of my favorite animals.
Clearly.
So
you really like those Coca-Cola commercials?
Me. Yeah.
Those are really cute, in fairness.
I do.
So again, this movie isn't trying to do anything. It's nothing. The last one at least tried to do a couple things. There's no themes in this movie. There's that little bit of like, oh, Alfred's dying, but then he doesn't die. It's not that I want him to die. It's just like, what did all that mean? You know what I mean? There was one scene where Bruce Wayne is kind of contemplating like, oh yeah, Alfred kind of raised me. And that's it.
I got some themes.
What are the themes?
Like family.
I was going to say, there could be an argument for like, they very lightly touch on the themes of family.
Yeah.
It is... I'll give you that, but it is light.
It's very
light.
Just
sprinkled on top.
Barely there.
At the very end of the movie, they're just like, okay, let's just sprinkle that on there.
But does every movie need a theme?
Kind of.
Yeah, movies need to tell you something. There needs to be a story that moves you.
This is where we disagree with movies. We disagree extremely because for me, a movie is an escape. It's somewhere you can just go to get away and relax and like just be like.
Okay.
You can do that with themes.
And that being said, like I said, this movie's bad in almost every way. It's not without its value. Like, this movie can be enjoyable if you're in that mindset. Right. If you know what you're about to get into, if you know this movie is not conventionally good, but it's one of those, it feels kind of like a B movie where you watch it, you know it's bad, but that makes it enjoyable.
Yeah.
It can be a lot of fun. If you're not in the mood, I've watched this movie in a couple different ways. If you're not in the mood for it, it's not.
If you want a good Batman movie, this isn't it.
No, this isn't it. But this is the movie that kind of ruined Batman for a while. You know,
almost a decade. Are you serious? It almost ruined superhero movies.
It kind of did, yeah. So originally they were gonna obviously do another sequel. So the reason George Clooney kind of took over is that Batman Forever did so well that they wanted to fast track the next one. So instead of having a 3-year turnover, they wanted to do a 2-year turnover. And Val Kilmer wasn't available because he was already signing on to do bigger projects that he thought were going to be better than this movie. And he's probably right.
He was right about that.
Well, he did The Saint, and you can argue that movie's not that much better than this, but it's probably a little bit better. True. But after this, Schumacher had a whole plan for a 5th movie called Batman Unchained. And he thought if he makes this movie for the studio, they'll let him make another one for himself, where he can kind of explore darker themes about Batman, where he gets locked up into Arkham Asylum.
And Schumacher would, in a sense, be unchained.
Yeah, like, can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But, like, it falls into the title.
Exactly, yeah.
I was being clever.
That was clever, man. I just didn't get it.
Like Django Unchained?
No. That's like a slavery thing.
I zoned out for a minute there, and I tried to jump in, but it didn't.
That's okay. But I feel like this movie is, again, it's clearly made for kids. Where the last one had some things for adults and some things for kids, this is all kids. Like I said, Poison Ivy just talks to herself. She's just, all the exposition. If she's not talking into a recorder or talking to Bane, she's just kind of monologuing out loud.
The movie.
Yeah.
That's not what.
I'm just kidding.
And I mean, you really like Uma Thurman in this. I think she's fine.
I think she's so cool.
I don't think it's anything special.
It's mainly like me as a kid. I just thought she was so cool and confident, and like her outfits are cool. Like it has like almost like as a kid, like I like really liked her. So I guess that just kind of stuck with me, even watching it now. So for me, I'm like, she's still the star of the movie.
What about Freeze? Like, I think Schwarzenegger is.
I like Freeze too.
I think he's pretty miscast because
I liked him.
he's got a freeze gun. That's his bit. He doesn't need to be like this big hulking man.
That's true.
And they got the biggest man they could find. So
I guess to give him like a presence.
Well, it's really for the. It didn't matter what the role was. It was for the star power.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's star power was so great at this point. I think he was the highest paid actor.
What year was this?
97.
Oh, this was like right before he did Jingle All the Way.
Okay, cool.
Ooh, bringing it back to the Christmas.
So he's a superstar. And so they get him. It doesn't matter what the role is. I don't think he probably cared. They should have had him do Bane. Like, that would have made more sense than Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he's still whitewashed.
Okay, sure.
Bane's been whitewashed in movies
Bane gets
every
whitewashed
time.
anyway a few years after this. So, I don't know. I just feel like, why cast Arnold Schwarzenegger? How does that fit into that role?
Here's the other thing, though. I guess marketing did a good job because I can't really picture anybody else playing Freeze in this movie.
Just think of anybody
At least
else.
in this movie in particular.
Ed Harris was considered. He would have been great.
That would have been better.
Yeah. I also hate all the action in this. Because last week I said the Batman Forever action was better than the first two movies. Because they got a better choreographer. Batman does some really good fighting in it. There's some flips. There's some like hanging from a rope and gliding stuff that's CGI, but you kind of can't tell because they do it in the dark, even though the CGI was bad back then. They do a lot more with Batman and Batman Forever, whereas in this one, I swear to God, there's a scene where he kicks Mr. Freeze and they just use like a wooden foot to do it. I swear.
Wait.
You go back and then they just went doop. And it's just like a foot on
Like
a stick.
stiff, like
Yeah, it's not going to be an actor doing a kick. They're going to
Right.
get a prop to do it. And that's what it feels like. It feels so fake. All of the fight scenes in this feel fake as fuck. Like, they're not really fighting. They're not really doing anything.
Like,
They're
no
just kinda
one's at
loosely-
risk at all.
It's
So,
just
yeah.
very loosely kind of, it just feels like a high school play, like making a fight, you know?
Yeah, I get that.
And it's such a step down from what they did in the last movie, which was honestly pretty good. Like, it's not like a modern superhero movie, like an MCU movie. But, I mean, you can give it credit for at least having good fights and good action. And this one doesn't do that at all.
I agree. I think the fight with Poison Ivy, I think her fight scene was in her little lair was like the best one.
Oh, it was probably the only one that was an actual fight.
Well,
Yeah.
because for me, like when I watch fight scenes, I like acrobatic. Like you've mentioned it before. The Winter Soldier fight scenes are so fucking good.
Those are some of the best choreographed
And-
Probably the
fights
best one.
Yeah.
ever.
Daredevil, the TV
Yep,
show,
that
it's
too.
incredible. They're so good, and that is my type of fighting. Like you could have a whole action movie for me and like not do any explosions or crazy shit like that. If it's just like combat like that, it's oh my god, it's so good. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie didn't really have any of that.
No. You can hide bad choreography with editing. And that's what most action movies do.
It's very
With
quick
quick
shots.
cuts.
Quick cuts and stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, I swear to God, they just put a foot on a stick, and they use that in several scenes.
And they just like smacked Arnold with it.
And they just wave it
Wait,
around.
can we use this as the little soundbite for Instagram and include that scene?
Yeah, we can probably do
With
something.
the
Yeah, we can do that.
And maybe like
You
cuts
better
like
make
a
sure it
picture
actually looks like a
of, like, a
wooden
wooden
I'm
foot.
glad you said something because now I'll write it down.
Yeah,
Because I'm
yeah.
always trying to remember. I was like, fuck, what am I going to do for the audiogram?
That'd be really funny.
But I think a highlight in this movie for me is the music. The music holds up.
The music
I like
is
it a
really
lot.
good.
Like I said, I don't love the theme in this. I don't like the... Oh, I already forgot it.
That's how bad it is.
Yeah. But the overall score, I think, is really, really good. Do you guys want to rank the Batman?
I don't.
Yeah, let's
George
do it.
George Clooney in this, what do you think?
I like him.
You like him? But what is he really doing in this? He's not doing a whole lot.
He's going around as Bruce Wayne.
Okay, well,
He
here's-
looks the part.
Here's
He
the thing about
definitely looks and sounds the part.
Here's the thing about George Clooney. He's an incredible actor. I think he's just doing the bare minimum and just gets away with it because he's naturally a better actor than a lot of the other people around him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can just read the lines on a first read, and it's going to be better than a lot of other people.
You think he's phoning it in?
A little bit, yeah. And he hated this movie. Like, he hated doing it. He hates talking about it.
Oh, I don't say that. I always hate hearing about, like, if it's a movie I like and an actor I like and a role they played, and I hear later that they hated it, it gives me such a bad taste, and I'll never forget that. And when I watch it, it taints the movie for me. So,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think
I don't like that.
Well, you're on the wrong podcast.
No, he's like, like the role like embarrassed him, I guess.
Yeah, that's always.
Why'd he do it?
Why not do Batman? They say put Batman in front of you, you're gonna say yes.
Yeah.
You know what
I
mean?
don't think he knew that it was going to be this silly
Again,
studio interfered.
The last one was silly, but mostly because they casted Jim Carrey. It wasn't.
And Tommy Lee Jones was like directed
right.
weird.
But half of that movie isn't that silly.
The plot was serious. The villains were fucking stupid.
So this one on its own doesn't look that much like the last one.
Mm.
It looks and feels like it's a slightly different movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, each movie incrementally changes the whole franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like Batman Forever, it's kind of something in between this one and the Burton ones. It's not all wacky.
It was a weird transition.
Yeah.
But no, I do like Clooney. I thought he did
too.
I think Clooney's the best actor here. I think he's better than Keaton, and I think he's better than Val Kilmer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To me, that doesn't make him the best Batman because his role just didn't do much. You know what I mean?
So who do you think's better?
I think his demeanor is what I liked.
I like
Me too.
Kilmer. I don't think Val Kilmer's the best actor. I think he's probably the worst actor out of the three.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that.
Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney. Val Kilmer is the worst out of those three actors, but I think his role was the best. I think that Batman role, specifically in Batman Forever, is much better than Keaton's and much better than Clooney's. And so it's unfortunate that the worst actor gets paired with the best role, but that's what it is. Right. And so I have to say he's the best Batman, and it's not because of the actor Val Kilmer, it's because that role was written the best.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I get that.
I would love it if it was Keaton all the way or Clooney all the way, because Clooney's a really good actor, but that's not what it is.
Okay. My thing is still, though, like, I don't know. I look at Val Kilmer, I'm like, that's not Batman.
Yep,
That's
same.
not Bruce Wayne. Like, I don't see it.
I see it mostly when he's not talking. Then he starts talking, I'm like, all right, like, he's fine. Don't get me wrong, he's fine. It's not fantastic, but he's fine.
Do you know what? I see George Clooney more as Bruce Wayne than Batman.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
Clooney was a really good, like, the few parts where he was Bruce Wayne, I'm like,
because
I buy it.
He's 100% Bruce.
He's very handsome.
Yes.
And he's very charismatic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just a raw charisma that just like
he has a very like calming confidence.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
He's just
you
like
totally
a boss.
buy it. Then again, I really like Val Kilmer seen as Bruce Wayne. I thought he did that better than the Batman stuff. And a lot of people say that Keaton's their favorite, and that's fine. But when we watch those movies, I felt there's not enough of him. He doesn't do
There's
much.
not enough to really make a judgment.
There's not a case in either way. Exactly. So,
which is very unfortunate because I do like Michael Keaton.
I love Michael Keaton.
Me too.
But we talked about Birdman a little bit, right?
We did.
One time? Yeah. I love him in that movie.
Oh, he's in Birdman?
He is Birdman.
He is Birdman.
That's the movie that grandma walked out and said, worst movie ever in the theater?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I saw this movie by myself.
I did not know that was Michael Keaton.
It's Michael. Yeah, he's the star of that movie. It's really good.
It's really dark.
I love that movie. No, what you're referring to, I saw that movie by myself, and it was like me and like 3 other people in that theater, and one was like an old lady, because it was like a afternoon. It was like a matinee. And she gets up halfway through the movie, walks down the stairs, turns around to address us, and goes, "Worst movie I've ever seen." And then turns around and walks out.
But she didn't finish it.
Why are you talking to me? Like, I didn't get up and leave, therefore I still like the movie.
She had a point to make, and she wanted everyone to hear.
I think she was expecting something else.
Did she think y'all were gonna like riot with her?
Like, yeah, let's all leave.
Yeah, all 3 of us.
It's just like 80-year-old Karen. Anyway, you guys didn't finish. Rank your Batman.
Oh, I'm gonna go Clooney, Keaton, and Kilmer. But that's no surprise at this point. I've talked about it enough.
Okay, but do you think that Clooney was a better Batman than Keaton? Or do you just like George Clooney better?
I mean...
Because I like George Clooney better.
I thought he did fine as Batman as well. Like, granted, like, he wasn't given as much to do as Kilmer, but that doesn't mean he did the role any worse.
Well, you put Kilmer last. I'm talking about Keaton.
Oh, Keaton?
You put George Clooney over Keaton.
So many cuss sounds. Clooney, Keaton... Kilmer, goddamn.
Well, are you asking why I like George more than Keaton?
Yeah.
One, he was actually given more to do than Keaton was, but also, like, He fills the suit better, for damn sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, and we said last week, Kilmer is obviously much more athletic.
Yeah, we did say that
Val
too.
Kilmer takes his shirt off at one point. You see his abs, and we know from other movies like Top Gun and stuff, like dude was ripped at the time.
But a lot of it for me is like their demeanor as a character. Like I thought George Clooney, while he was in Batman, like I felt like I was looking at Batman, you know, like the way he talks to Robin, the way minus the credit card bullshit.
You and your credit card. See, I thought that was very Batman of him to do that. I'm just kidding. No, I agree with you. I'm Clooney, like, Keaton, Kilmer.
And like, especially down to like when Clooney as Batman is like talking to Robin is like, hang on, think for a second. Like she did something to us. Like something's not right. Like, I don't know. It just seemed I saw Batman talking to Robin, you know?
Okay.
It's hard to put into words, but
their scenes together in the last movie were just so much better than this. You know? When they're talking about why be Batman and like why like he wants to quit.
Right. No, it's unfortunate that Clooney was in the shittier movie.
He's in the worst role, exactly.
Yeah.
And Chris O'Donnell is in the previous movies?
He's in both, yeah.
So you can see how he interacts with the other Batman.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see the other movies, but I saw snippets of scenes. And from what I saw, I agree with Berto. I think Clooney, Keaton, and then Kilmer. Val Kilmer, he just doesn't seem like a Batman at all to me. And then Michael Keaton, now when I see him, all I think of is Spider-Man, which that just kind of taints my view.
Like, it's the Vulture.
Yeah, well, it sucks because I never grew up with these movies. I didn't see them, like, I haven't even really seen them at all.
Because your childhood is weird.
You need to go back and watch them.
I do.
They're worth watching for sure. Okay, cool. So moving on, keep or cancel. This is a segment where we talk about the actors in the movie or the people in the movie and decide if we're going to keep them or we're going to cancel them.
Keep.
I didn't even know who we said yet.
All right, so Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I thought we just jump in and say it.
Yeah, but who?
I don't know. Oh,
exactly.
We decide as a group?
No, you don't even know who we're talking about.
We have to pick an actor first.
I thought you meant the movie in general.
No, the people. Do you listen to this podcast?
What a bozo.
I do.
No, then you don't. You don't even know what keep or cancel is.
Yes, I do.
We're not keeping the movie. We're keeping the actors.
The movie is. Are we going to put it in the Phantom Zone?
Because it's making fun of cancel culture.
Oh,
it's a bit.
Oh, I see. Oh
God,
you love bits.
I do.
How do you? I cannot believe you didn't know what keep or cancel was.
Sorry.
I workshopped this off of you when I thought of keep or cancel.
Really?
Probably.
So I am the backbone.
No, you're not.
I'm the
gonna stop you right
of this
there.
whole podcast.
All right, no, because this is one segment and we don't even need to have it.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What is his accent?
He's Austrian.
Austrian.
So his
interesting.
His native language would be German. Austrians have like their dialect because German is spoken in a couple countries like Switzerland, Germany, Austria. So he would be speaking like Austrian, Bavarian. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Austrian bodybuilder. This guy, I don't know if you know this, but he kind of breaks his life up into 3 chunks. He considers his bodybuilding time, his acting time, and then his governor time,
political
right?
Time,
the governor.
So, the governor.
The governor.
So he did like professional bodybuilding in Austria and competed in international competitions of Mr. Olympia, and he just won first place just year after year after year. Dude killed it. If you see like pictures of his body back
super
then,
fucking ripped.
He's so wide.
Very ripped. Also, do you know that he's not that tall? He looks tall because they make him look tall.
Yeah.
But under the competition, like guidelines or whatever, and this is like a topic of debate, he was listed as 6'2", but apparently he's 5'10". And
What?
He's only like 2 inches taller than me.
Yep. He is, he's only a few inches taller than me.
Same.
What?
Okay.
I'm 5'7.5".
Okay. Yeah. And he like wears like lifts and he does like a Robert Downey Jr. bit where
RDJ is pretty.
He's like 5'7" or 5'6" or something like that.
He's so small.
He's shorter
actually
than me.
he might be like 5'7" or 8". But you put him next to all these like 6'4" guys. And obviously it looks tiny. Anyway, Arnold Schwarzenegger apparently is 5'10", and he's just been lying his whole life. And it was like such a topic of debate that like people tried to like measure him, and he like doesn't let them.
I'm 6. Yeah. 6 what?
6'2" is what he says.
6'2", that is such an extreme difference.
from 5'10". It's 4 inches. So
He just
That's a
he just
lot.
really wants to be over 6 feet.
yeah.
Oh my god.
That's a weird thing to lie
Well,
about.
I saw a picture of him because I always assumed he was like 6'4" or
I
whatever.
thought so too.
He just looks like it, and his movies are made to make him look
Yeah.
tall.
He's also cast against a bunch of short people.
I guess,
usually.
but I mean, apparently he's probably shorter than Clooney and Chris O'Donnell and all these people.
Shit.
Uma Thurman probably. She's probably like
she's
5'11".
tall.
Yeah,
He
She's
didn't
tall.
look tall in the movie though.
yeah, champion bodybuilder, and then starts acting, and obviously that took off. Becomes an action superstar.
Yeah.
Movies like
Predator.
Terminator. There's one I'm forgetting.
Jingle All the Way.
Oh yeah, obviously Jingle All the Way. That's such a big fuck.
Classic. Your classic action.
Conan the
movie.
Barbarian.
Yeah.
Did Conan the Barbarian, and then obviously becomes governor of California. Started a political career
Yeah.
as a
Pretty
Republican.
successful one, too.
Yeah. So apparently, how Wikipedia kind of makes it is that he pretty much just kind of won because of his name. You know, he just he Reaganed
He's
it.
like, yeah,
you
I'm
know?
going to run.
Yeah.
And then he's like,
He's just everyone is like, all right, I'm gonna vote for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I feel like he was like, oh shit, I won.
And
What do I do
Yeah.
now?
But apparently, he popular enough that he won a re-election campaign too. 4
Yeah.
years later.
So the people liked him.
Yeah, for a pretty popular governor of California. Ran as a Republican. Republicans don't really win very much in California because it's a
Yeah.
very liberal state.
Yeah.
But he's also a very liberal Republican, honestly. He
Yeah.
doesn't really fit with the party anymore. He's kind of denounced the party
Well, the party's
ever
changed
since.
quite
Exactly, you know. And you look at like the things he kind of like was pushing for, and he's very, very, very moderate. And that's something I really do like about him on the political side, is that he doesn't really, maybe that's because he's an immigrant, that no one's going to push him in any direction. He's going to stand up for what he thinks.
a bit. Yeah.
And so he doesn't really always agree with everybody, and he's very outspoken
He sticks
about his
to
morals
guns.
and his ideals. Yeah. And I really do like that about him. So I like him a lot. But movies, what are your favorite movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Well, I think you all know mine.
Oh, Jingle All the Way. You're
Holy
going to
fuck.
put that one in again.
But also
yeah.
the Terminator movies. are
Terminator's
very good.
great. Have you seen the Terminator?
Yeah. How many are there?
There's like 5 of them, but only 3 count, apparently.
Have
Yeah,
you
some
been
of
on the
them, like,
ride
aren't-
at Universal?
Of course I've been on there.
it was like a show.
It was a
Yeah.
show, and it was like a very high production value. Like
Yeah.
James Cameron made that. He spent like $1 million on it.
And it was like kind of a sequel to Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like filmed it on
was
set.
3D.
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
I remember, yeah. But I remember liking Terminator a lot. I haven't seen it in a
They're
long time.
some of them are very good movies.
The first 2 are really, really, really good.
Yes.
Uh,
The second one's like one of
and
my
it's-
favorite action movies
yeah.
ever.
the first, and they're very different, which is great.
Yeah, the
Because-
first one plays kind of like a
Almost like a
slasher
horror movie.
film.
Yeah.
Is that when he's the bad guy?
Yep.
Yeah,
he's a bad guy, and
in
he's
the first one.
chasing what's her face?
Sarah?
Sarah Connor. Thank you.
Sarah Connor, yeah.
And in the second one, he is a reprogrammed T650, 700, or whatever.
Is it
T800.
600?
I don't know. It's one of T800, I think.
Oh,
it's
no,
his,
the nerds
it's
are
his-
gonna kill us.
I know.
Oh,
Oh fuck.
we're done.
But he's been reprogrammed in the future, so he's a different version of the same model, and he's sent back. So now he's the good guy in the second movie.
That's the movie I remember.
yeah, and then there's
That's
the
the
kid,
best one.
What's
so-
the kid's name?
John Connor.
John Connor,
John.
because John Connor grows up to be the person who changes the war. So he's the pivotal one. Everyone's trying to go back in time to kill John Connor or Sarah, so that he's never born. Therefore, Cyberdyne. Thank you. Cyberdyne Systems wins the war.
Whoa.
It's a T800, I think, because the T1000 is a liquid one.
Yeah, and the T600 is something else.
So they made a Terminator 3, which is apparently really bad. They made a Terminator Salvation, which is a only future one where John Connor is like leading the resistance.
This is also the only PG-13 one in the entire
Really?
franchise. Yeah.
And then they made
Oh, I
a
meant to ask.
Terminator Genesis, which I don't know what it's about.
Genesis, I saw. That's the one with the chick from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I haven't seen the newest one,
And
Dark
right,
Fate.
Dark Fate. And then they said, all those movies are so bad that we're going to erase them. We're going to make a sequel to just the first 2.
Good.
Which is a super trend, making a sequel to just the first 2.
Aliens did it, right?
Yeah, and so has Halloween. But also has comedy roles. He did a lot of comedy.
Twins
That
with
kind of-
Danny
yep.
DeVito.
That kind of set him apart for a lot of action heroes. Did you know that he had a big feud with Sylvester Stallone?
Did they have another ego fight like
Yep.
all these other male actors?
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
In the 80s.
I can't look weak. Well, neither can I. Let's put in our contract. We have to win each fight and leave with just one little scrape and a bruise.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
The
That
Rock.
is so fucking stupid.
So they didn't...
I want a whole podcast on bullshit in Hollywood and these fucking
Toxic
big...
masculinity.
Yes, and these men with these huge egos. Oh my god, I can't stand it.
You're so upset.
I perked right up for that.
Yeah, so
comment.
these two were never in a movie together. Well, they were Expendables, but that was later when they kind of like buried the hatchet.
Yeah.
But during the 80s, they were kind of like competing action heroes.
God.
And, well, here's the thing. You get the idea that Stallone was more of the toxic one and that Arnold kind of doesn't care. Because Arnold is competitive, but at the same time, he's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would kind of egg Sylvester Stallone on and apparently tricked him into doing like bad movies. There's a movie called Stop or My Mom Will Shoot You. And
That sounds so made up.
it's not. It's a real movie and it is horrible.
Can we watch it?
Can we review it?
No, we can't.
Oh.
And so it's a Sylvester Stallone movie, but apparently the script was given to Arnold and he read it and he's like, this is the worst thing ever. And so he's like, tell Stallone, he like told his agent, like, tell him that I'm super interested in it because then he'll fucking do it. And so Sylvester Stallone did it because he thought he was competing with Arnold Schwarzenegger over this movie, but Arnold totally tricked him into doing it. And he like slapped
So
Stallone.
Arnold's kind of a little sly dog.
Yeah. He like slapped him
for
with like
him.
this like horrible movie that Stallone was in.
God.
Because he
don't
thought,
get men.
I think Stallone thought that this was his twins. You know, because Arnold started doing funny movies and people liked him even more.
Like Jingle All the
Like,
Way.
yeah, like Jingle All the Way.
Okay, what other funny movie was he in?
Twins.
Oh.
And he was
he in
in
Face Off?
No.
No, that's...
Who am I thinking of?
I don't even... That's not even a
Travolta
funny movie.
and-
I was thinking of
Cage.
Travolta.
Mr. Mom.
Wait, Mr. Mom.
Fuck, he's in
That's Michael Keaton.
Kindergarten Cop. I was saying Kindergarten Cop.
Oh. Yeah.
And Junior. That was a funny one, right? Yeah, with DeVito.
Wait,
So-
DeVito was in that too? Yes, he was.
It was like a weird male pregnancy movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this movie.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger is
gets
pregnant. I saw that on TV once when I was like 8.
What the fuck?
And I was very confused.
Yeah.
It was funny. I think Twins is better.
Yeah, so Arnold Schwarzenegger, I 100% keep.
I do too.
I do too.
He sounds like a fun guy. He sounds like an overall stand-up guy. Obviously, everybody has like their little dickish moments, but
Yeah, he had an affair.
yeah, well, that's kind of a dick move. But
Sure.
When?
Well, he was married to Maria Shriver, who was like a journalist, part of the Kennedy family,
Oh.
and he slept with his maid, I think.
It's always the maid.
it's always
I think
the help.
And now he's Chris Pratt's father-in-law.
Yeah.
He is, yeah.
But yeah, I'll keep him because I like him. And yeah, having an affair is horrible, but he's not the worst person in the world.
Yeah, keep
It's
him
not
obviously.
enough to cancel, I
No,
think. No, yeah.
no one's
Don't
canceled.
cancel his career
People
over
go
it.
through shit, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You don't know if you're unless you're there, I think.
We should all be canceled.
What?
What? No, that's not the point. Of the... All right, keeping Arnold. Moving on, George Clooney. What do you think?
Keep.
Keep.
I like
There's
him.
nothing. I can't.
He's just.
What's bad about George
He
Clooney?
just
He's
seems like a cool
fantastic.
dude.
He's a great actor. Also director. Have you seen? He directed. It's like a movie about. It's the one where they go to space.
Gravity.
Oh, it's another one
Interstellar.
that's kind of spacey.
I like George Clooney a lot. I think he's very attractive. He's a great actor. I love the Ocean's movies. Like, he's great. But when I was in like middle or high school, I was reading 17 magazine and they did a little snippet on celebrities and like, oh, maids speak out. What do these celebrities really like? And I read one about him. This was like 20 years ago. It said like the maid is like, oh, he's apparently really messy and kind of gross and sloppy. And ever since then, that little nugget of information's been in the
Oh
back
no,
of
he's
my
kind of
mind.
messy.
Yeah.
That's
And
why
then-
he has a maid.
Well, no, they said he was like gross too, and like
Like
just
he
like
picks his nose.
no, like he toots.
Doesn't everyone?
No, like a lot, like out in the open.
Is he
doesn't
just like
care.
a gassy man?
Are you? Hold on, let me get this straight. Are you going to cancel him for that?
No, not at all. But I was just
mean,
letting you guys know.
You should. This is a lighthearted segment. Just fucking cancel him if you want.
No, hell no. I don't want to cancel him. But I'm
I don't wanna
saying
cancel.
I don't.
If he grosses you out, just cancel him.
Can I finish my thought?
Okay.
I'm saying that information's always in the back of my head when I think of George Clooney. It always will be. It's there.
You're always going to think of him farting.
Oh, I hate that word.
Tooting.
That's why I say that, because it just sounds cuter.
I was thinking Solaris, but he didn't direct that. He directed a bunch of other movies.
Oh.
So we're keeping him.
Have you guys seen Hail Caesar or...
Wait, are these all Clooney's movies?
Yep.
I know.
Never seen.
I know what Hail Caesar is. Spy Kids 3D.
Burn
game
After
over.
Reading. I love Burn After Reading. Burn After Reading and Hail Caesar are two of my favorite movies of his because Coen brother movies.
Mm-hmm.
But also...
Aren't they the Coen sisters?
No, you're
thinking of the Wachowskis?
You're thinking of Wachowskis.
Oh.
We might do one of their movies.
They're both trans now.
Wait, what movie?
Speed
Spy
Racer.
Speed Racer. Ocean's 11. I'm not going to say it's underrated because it's not. It's perfectly well rated. However, you remember I was talking about Men in Black is one of the few movies I can watch on loop over and over again?
Yeah.
Ocean's 11 is the other one.
Really?
I think the last time we watched Ocean's 11, as soon as it was over, I was like, I'm going to watch it again.
I watched it for the first time when we were in North Carolina.
It is so enjoyable.
Oh,
Why did
you
you
guys
guys do that?
What was that?
We all went back to the Airbnb and Danielle picked the movie out and we watched it. And
It's great, right?
I was like, holy shit, it's a good movie.
The movie's
Yeah,
it's
I love
incredible.
that movie.
That movie's incredible.
Yeah.
So fucking good.
Yo,
Wait,
he
we
was in
haven't
Spy
talked about
Kids.
him in Spy Kids yet.
Yeah, he
remember.
plays the president.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he gives them their missions.
And he has the little black sensor bar in his
Yeah.
eyes. And he like grabs it and
He grabs
moves it.
Did you know, by the way, he's 2 years younger than Val Kilmer?
Really?
Yes. Remember last week we were saying it looks like Val Kilmer and Chris O'Donnell are the same age. So why is he doling out advice? Like he's like
Does
his
Val
dad.
Kilmer just look young?
Yeah, Val Kilmer's
He just
11
looked
years
that
old.
young.
Okay, you have to watch Batman Forever. They looked like the same age.
Yeah.
He's 11 years older than Chris O'Donnell.
Damn.
What the
So
fuck?
it was a perfectly appropriate age for their dynamic.
They just didn't look the part.
And George Clooney's 2 years younger, even though he looks 10 years older. But I think in this movie, Clooney's already graying. He already has a crow's feet. Like, he just looks like he's 45.
But he
even though
looks
was
like a silver fox.
Hell yeah.
He was like 38 when this movie was filmed.
So he's been a silver fox for like 20
He's
years.
perpetually looked the same age,
He'll
essentially.
always be a silver fox to
Yeah.
me.
He's a good looking
Like
dude.
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy, that's such a weird one.
Jeremy Irons.
Daniel Craig.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I think Daniel Craig's kind of ugly.
No, sir.
We're getting off topic.
We're getting way off topic.
Keeping George Clooney
yeah,
for
we're keeping
sure.
Clooney because he's a cool dude.
Love Clooney. Didn't love him in this movie, but I love Clooney.
Yeah.
And
Beep,
George,
beep, beep.
if you're listening, just clean up a little bit.
Yeah, now that you guys know the secret background information, do you feel any different about George?
If I'm like a millionaire and I have a maid,
I really wouldn't give a shit.
I might get a little lazier than I am now.
Yeah.
I might get a little dirtier.
Will you start like pooping everywhere?
Pooping. Is he like?
Okay.
Is he just like walking around shitting his pants? Because that's a whole different story.
It was a descriptive thing, and I just remember being like, oh, that's kind of off-putting.
All right, so final thoughts. Let's move on. What are your final words on this movie? And here's the part. We're going to send it to the Phantom Zone or leave it. Berto, you go.
Okay. As much as there are like some things to like about this film, it's just overall it's
Don't
kind
you
of a
say
shitty movie.
Don't you say
So
it.
I'm going to banish it to the Phantom
I'm
Zone
going to banish you.
because it's just it doesn't need to exist.
This is the first one you put in the Phantom Zone.
Out of all the Batman, movies,
yeah.
This one didn't need to exist.
Well, I completely disagree. This movie is part of my childhood. I think it's so much fun. I think it has a lot of cool scenes. I never mentioned this before, but I really like how some of, especially the street racing scenes, like, it looks like it's a movie set. Something about the way this movie is shot. And
Is that good or bad? What are you
No,
saying?
it's good for me. I like it.
Yeah, it's obviously all set.
Yeah, but it looks very setty.
I would
You
consider
like
that a
that
bad
set?
thing.
No, I like it.
Well, you think it's artistic? Is what
It
you're
adds to the charm.
Okay.
saying. Yeah.
I think it's very artistic. I remember so many of these scenes so vividly, even though it was like years, even before we saw it a few years ago. Like, I remembered these scenes so vividly, and like it's just fun. Even now, it kept me entertained the whole time. Like, there was no point where I was just like, okay, like, can this speed up a little bit? Because some of those kid movies like are like that. They're like, but this one I don't think was like that at all. I think it's fun. It's a good time for all. And Berto should be banished instead, and not this. I'm just kidding.
So you're not banishing it to
I'm
the
not
Phantom
at
Zone.
all. It's staying and it's going strong.
This film, like I said, it's bad in almost every conceivable way. I think you can't paint this film in a very positive way. However, it can be enjoyable. Like, if you're in the right state of mind, if you grew up at the right time, if you watched this as a kid, if you're nostalgic for it, you can go in and watch it and enjoy it. It's not like other things where, like, there's other things from my childhood that are bad, and I'm not that nostalgic for it. Or I am nostalgic for it, and I'll go watch it and be like, shit, that's kind of ruining my good perception of this, because it's actually bad. This isn't one of those because, like, I remember it so vividly, and it can still be enjoyable if you're looking for that kind of
But you have to be in a very, very specific mindset.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta want this movie for it to work for you, I think.
Okay.
And the other thing is, this movie did kind of ruin Batman for a long time until they had to get one of the best kind of writer-directors to fix it. You know what I mean? And Chris Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
But had Batman never come back, had this actually ruined Batman, I would be so livid at this film for doing that. And I would say this is just the worst thing that could have ever happened to comic books, period. But Christopher Nolan made 3 incredible Batman movies. And then, Batman is still kind of kicking in several ways now between Ben Affleck in a couple movies and Robert Pattinson's now going to have his own film. And there's been
He's not having his own film?
No, I said he is going to have his own film now.
Okay.
And we've got all these different comics. We've got all these different cartoons. All these different versions of Batman that it's fine. In the big grand scheme of things, it's not really taking away from Batman. Because now you can look at it and you can say, okay, this is a version of Batman. This is a crazy, weird, tripped out, neon ecstasy version of Batman.
Yes.
But then you can go and watch Batman Begins and The Dark Knight and say, oh, this is a different version of Batman. I can have both because it didn't actually ruin Batman. If anything, it gave people a reason to fix Batman.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. So for that reason, I can't say I gotta put it in the Phantom Zone. This movie deserves to exist because it is one of the many different versions of Batman, one of the most versatile comic book characters of all time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the movie stays with me. I think it's bad, but it can be a good time if you want it to be a good time. Cool?
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's where we wrap things up then. What movie should we do next? I think next week we're going to maybe do Zorro. What do you
Mask of Zorro?
Yeah.
No, I actually really like The Mask of Zorro, and I would be down.
Antonio Banderas. He's hot.
He is.
Yeah.
And what's Penelope? No, it's not Penelope Cruz. Fuck, what's her name?
It's the other one, Salma Hayek.
Are you sure?
No, it's
not. It's the other one.
The other one.
She's not, because she just pretends to be Spanish, but she's actually...
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
She's actually Welsh.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's like super not...
Wait, is that the right one?
Yeah, Catherine Zeta-Jones, yeah. Yeah, she's super white.
Okay.
That is so weird to me.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to do Mask of Zorro next week. That movie is not available really to stream anywhere. I checked. That's kind of a rent it. But I really, really, really like that movie. It's kind of Mexican Batman, which is the way we're connecting this.
Yeah.
But
I may or may not be back.
I'm interested in watching it. I haven't seen it since I was like a little kid.
Great.
It is so good.
It holds up
It
so
holds
well.
up for sure.
It's
Alright.
definitely like an MCU movie now. Like it follows that kind of formula, has that feel to it.
Yes.
It's really, really, really
Yeah,
good.
it's really fun.
That's it for this week. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you to that piano dude for our musical intro.
Oh, I'm allowed to plug myself?
Yeah, plug yourself.
Okay. I was about to say thank you to Sabel Studio. Got it, dump it. Okay.
Dump it.
Dump it. You can find me on Twitch where I stream. It's super fun. It's just at Sabel Studio. There's 2 S's in there. You'll figure it out. Sorry. When I get tired, I laugh a lot for literally no reason. Can you cut that too?
Babe,
Maybe I
you're
can't.
giving me nothing.
Okay.
You tell me to cut out literally everything you say.
Where do I pick up?
Just say Sable Studio.
Okay. You guys can follow me on my personal Instagram, Sable of Hope, or my YouTube channel, Sable Studio, Twitch at Sable Studio, or my art Instagram, also at Sable Studio. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
And then I always like to plug Kaya. Kaya, she's at Kaya the Pitsky. There's some underscores.
It's our puppy. She's the...
What?
Yeah, she's our puppy.
I was saying there's some underscores in her name, so you might have trouble finding it. And it's Kaya with a C, not a K.
Okay. We say you can follow us on Instagram at Films from the Phantom Zone, or you can argue with us at...
On Twitter.
Twitter. Thank you.
Yes, because that's where people go to argue.
It's where people have
You
heated
love
debates.
to argue.
I do. Films from PZ. Also, all of our episodes are being uploaded to YouTube. So if that's how you'd rather listen to a podcast on your computer, and that makes it easy for you, then these podcasts are on YouTube. There's no video element.
There needs to be eventually.
Does there?
I mean, maybe if we start getting like a budget and stuff. Sure.
Oh, who's gonna sponsor us?
You?
Maybe George Clooney will.
Adam and Eve sponsor a lot of people.
Do we have to like do ads for it?
Do you know what that is?
Yes, I know exactly what Adam and Eve is.
You gave me a blank look, so I was like...
Because I'm like, why are you bringing this up? I just want to go to bed.
If it's money, though.
We could...
Nope. I'm just gonna say no to that.
This podcast is brought to you by Adam and Eve.
Nope.
Please. That's so perfect.
Nope.
Get your sex toys.
Okay.
Yeah. They might send us free shit.
But for real though, leave a rating and review. Can you just shut up for 2 seconds so I can finish this so we can go to bed? Make sure you leave a rating and review if you can. Just scroll down. It's right there. You can see 5 stars. You hit 5 stars. You go on with your day.
Do you guys get a lot of reviews?
Oh.
I reviewed you the other day.
Nice.
You wrote a review?
No, I clicked 5 stars.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's not a review. It's a rating.
Well, I rated it.
Otherwise, that's it. So we will see you guys next week with Mask of Zorro. Would you like to say bye? Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.